Welcome back to
Hey,
another live stream, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good evening. Today, we're going to have some debates and some different conversations. We're here with my new buddy here, Michael, and he's going to give us an introduction about himself. My new guest here. But go ahead.
oh, my turn. Okay.
Yeah, your turn.
Uh, Hello, my name's Michael. I live in Bakersfield, California, East Side. My political ideals are a little awkward. I am Republican, very conservative, but mostly I vote independent because I believe both sides of the coin are just are just two wings of the dirty bird called the politician, which really doesn't care for the people.
So, what do you advocate for? How would you reform that? Would it be like something like socialism? Is that something that you fall more into? And when you
No,
say
no,
you're
no,
Okay. When you say you're a
no
centralist, does that
socialism.
mean that you'll vote Democrat or Republican, or you really just don't care about either side?
I care because it's for the people. I'm a patriot to the people. But I also care because it's these politicians that decide what is done in the country. So I'm not really a centralist, more of a conservative with ideals that can be open to both ends to see a matter done right in the US.
What are
I
some
hope there
things
is
you would like to see?
well, the economy isn't stable enough as is. Gas prices, especially here in California, are astronomical.
Yeah, that's because
I
California
see,
doesn't use crude oil; they use Brent oil, which comes from Singapore, and that's really expensive to. Comes from China, Singapore, Russia, all those other places out there. But they use it. They
and
use a different type of oil altogether. But yeah, California, and also their taxes. They have like a dollar, like a dollar 50 in gas tax, which is ridiculous. They should suspend that indefinitely.
yes, I agree. Actually, we're probably going to agree more than debate, but I digress. Maybe California should start using the oil it finds here because there's oil under America.
Well, they just kicked out three, like they kicked out the two oil refineries they had. So I mean, they left, they shut down. So that's
I,
affecting the prices too. But
well,
as
you can
far as
thank
bringing the
Governor.
gas prices down, oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You're gonna say thank
Well,
Gavin Newsom.
that's the fault of Governor Gavin Newsom.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
don't like.
and also not to mention, I do think, if you want my honest opinion, like you mentioned before, you said you don't think Trump brought the gas prices down. I'm just gonna have to disagree with you on that because as far as right now, the national average, even though we're in at war with Iran or whatever you want to call it, conflict, war, yada yada, the national gas price is like below $4 according to AAA. But don't get me wrong, I still think there's plenty of room to. I still think there's plenty of room to improve on that.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
No, I
It's just
agree,
it
but you made
seems.
this claim. You made this claim that gas prices weren't down. I mean,
I
the
do.
average gas prices under Biden was like $5, and not to mention the first year
Yeah, I generalize.
in 2025, the gas prices were like under $3 on average, and that's obviously a major improvement from Trump. I mean, not Trump, Biden. Sorry, I'm getting dementia like Biden. Sorry, but
Carefully,
yeah, no.
don't fall
So
up the steps.
but how do you feel? Like I guess you wanted to also talk about the welfare stuff and whatnot. Like, do you think that there's a lot of people
Yes.
abusing the system out there, and it needs to be cut?
There are some people all around the states that have circumstances that they need to live off. However, we're having people abuse it, and it's hard to identify the abusers. So everyone gets hit across the floor. Maybe we can do. Maybe there's some way we can look into the people who don't need it and are trying to get it without on a fraudulent claim. Maybe set up a system because people who need the welfare, and I agree, are worried that it's going to get cut so stupendously that they can't live.
Well, I think we should probably cut maybe 20 million Americans food stamps and give that money to the people that actually need the welfare, not just people that are not applying for jobs or refusing to. Like if you're on welfare and if you're not sick, if you don't have any disabilities, it should literally be a requirement every single day. Every single day, you should be required to go out there and file for a
Sorry,
job
sorry.
application.
You know, I agree with that. Weirdly enough,
Well, well, I think we agree on a
the
lot of
the job
stuff.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems we do. I just, I don't know. There's just something in this country is broken fundamentally, and it's not just the Democrats; it's the Republicans and other smaller parties.
Why do you
Something's
think
really
it's
fishy.
broken? Because it's not easy. Is that what makes you think it's broken? Because it's never going to be easy.
No, no, nothing in life worth its weight in gold is easy. No, I think something's being cheated.
Well, I'm sure
I think the
we
people are being
saw we
cheated.
saw billions of dollars of fraud, but those billions of dollars of fraud, that money could have gone to help more people out. But
Like
that,
I, I hope I'm not confusing you or anything, or just making this kind of dull. It's just I'm trying to figure out, along with you, where is the problem besides the Democrats? It's always Democrats this, Democrats that. What if it's not
the
just the
fraud,
Democrats?
the fraud. I mean, the majority of the fraud is being done by Democrats.
Well, I'm not lying. I'm not saying you're lying.
Well, then I don't know what you
And
want me to tell you. I mean, I'm sure there's fraud on both sides, but what do you, maybe there's some things that we can disagree about. This is a very common thing that Republicans disagree about. What do you think about Israel?
it's I don't see it as the Israel of God. It's
You don't
been
have to see it as the Israel of God, but what do you think
I
about,
feel like
we don't have to
it's
give any biblical references. Obviously, the borders aren't the same,
ah,
but it,
well,
it is it
they
is
were
it is
very
somewhat
much
very similar to biblical Israel. It's just a bit smaller, but that's a whole nother. The religious side is a whole nother thing. I wasn't even thinking about religiously. I'm just talking about what do you think about Gaza, Palestine? Do you
you
think there's a
know.
genocide? Do you think there's atrocities going on?
Oh
What do
yeah,
you
oh yeah.
think?
On both sides, both sides need to chill the hell out.
So you think there's a genocide on both sides? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
I don't
I
think that's
mean,
possible.
well, when Israel's firing rockets in
It's
the
just called a
and
war.
unfortunately, it is a war, and civilians get hurt because the Hamas, the Hamas and all of them, they hide behind schools and stuff. But can they do something other than fire rockets at schools? Maybe like sending in insertion teams.
I
The
mean,
IS, uh, I
they're
mean
going to send
the
people
is
on the ground? How would they send people on the ground when they're shooting rockets out of schools? Like if you approach where rockets are being launched out of on feet, that doesn't really seem like the
then
smartest tactical
approach where they
tactical
don't
move.
see. There's
Sorry.
always other ways into a building. Tactical. I'm pretty sure the SEALs can do it in a jiff.
Well, I mean, if we could just do everything tactical, that causes people are going to die on the ground. Would you disagree?
Yeah,
It's going to cause
there's
more
no going
people
to
to
be no.
die on
Yeah,
the ground.
yeah, good point. I'm not big on military tactics. I'm just trying to make sure that everyone lives. Everyone deserves a life, no matter how
I
bad they
agree.
are.
No, I mean, no, I don't agree with that. I think PDF files don't deserve to live,
Well, okay. Well, there are exceptions to a rule.
and terrorists. Yeah, you're right. There is
Traitors,
exceptions.
traitors, traitors in this country get shot. It's weird that how some of those Democrats who actually avoid traitors charges don't get shot.
Well, I'm not calling for political violence. That sounds horrible.
No, 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 no. I mean, tried. They had to have a trial. Everyone gets a trial. Even the most disgusting people have a trial to find them convicted by the juries of the peers through evidence. and there's plenty of it. Oh, there's plenty of it.
Well, they're screaming in the chat, Trump is a felon, Trump is a felon, Trump is a felon.
If he was a felon, he would have been arrested. Why hasn't he been? Or
They're,
sitting in the jail cell?
they're going to
And
say
if he was,
because.
got out. He's president. He's your president. You
So
may
do you
not have
think?
voted him, but
So do you think
oh.
funding Israel or is okay?
I believe we can still fund them, but not a whole lot. We need to actually look at ourselves first, fix ourselves before we can help others. Otherwise, we will not be successful in helping others when we are fundamentally broken. Now, I'm not trying to be like, like a Nazi or a centralist. I just believe in looking out for us because we are deteriorating,
Uh,
both
I agree, but Israel
structurally.
does. We have a $55 billion trade surplus with Israel every year. And not to mention, they bought $200 billion worth of weaponry from us in the last 2 years. We did give them a $36 billion, which they have to use almost 100% of that on purchasing weapons from us. And they spent 200 billion. They spent way more than we gave them.
Hmm. Looks like it's a little Texas in the Middle East.
But if there's nothing that we disagree with, I mean, you can just share some of your personal stuff with me if you're comfortable sharing your what's going on with you
Oh yeah,
personally.
sure. Personally, I'm a wreck. I've lost many friends and relationships. It's just hard, family members. But I'm learning to deal with it. Therapy is wonderful, kids. Please go to therapy and seek God. But I encourage actually everyone to go to God, give their woes to God.
What about? I agree with you
Right?
100%. But what do you think about how many genders are there?
You're kidding with this, right? Please tell me
I
you're
don't know.
kidding
You
because there's
do
only
live in California. You know I have to ask.
there's there there is two. God made it such. He made it
Do,
Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
uh, that's 100% true. But what about intersex? What about intersex? What about intersex?
First of all, that's like a 1% chance, if
That's less than a
even small.
1% chance.
Okay, yeah, see, it was smaller. Thank you. And even then, they're not going to have any children. They can still call themselves male or female. They can conform to one gender. They have both parts. Why not?
A lot of them get those parts cut off, or they go through some kind of surgery to make them just one
And then,
gender.
and they become the gender that the, the the organs left over, whether it be female part or male part.
They're all going
Still
ballistic in the
men.
comment section. They're saying, "Oh, Trump 2028, it's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional." Or they're just screaming about a fourth term. But you hit it spot on when you said the first 10 amendments are unalienable
Oh yeah.
rights.
I want to say I'm a more of a constitutionist. I believe with
Constitutionalist?
what the founding fathers wrote for our country was a guiding light for us. Now, here's the thing they don't tell you: Benjamin Franklin was afraid because he put elements of democracy, because democracy it ultimately ends up turning into an autocracy. Do you agree with that?
Sure, yeah.
So he put elements like electing the leaders, but with Republican, he we hold the power. With the Republic, we hold the power of those politicians, so we can vote them out if necessary, or in Article or in Amendment 2, form a militia to both against foreign and domestic enemies. If that president becomes an enemy, he needs to be ousted without so much death, please. But that is what a militia is for. That's what is in our Constitution. We just never used it, at least properly.
What did we never
These are.
use?
I don't know why we never use these our old rules. Freedom of speech is. Did you know actually freedom of speech is actually very liberal? It's a classic liberal.
Of course, I know it's liberal. I mean, liberal literally means you're open-minded.
Right. Okay, I'm just making sure you're on the same page. Some people don't know this, and it's rather bugging me. It's like, how do you skip history class?
Republicans can
Now,
apply political pressure to pass the Save America Act. Yeah, we need to pass that. What do you think about the Save America Act? What about voter ID?
yes, please.
Yes,
No
please.
more. No, yes, no more. No more of this inviting a bunch of illegal peoples to vote all blue to flood it with blue, so they get some sort of cheap victory. That's cheating. That's tampering with polls, I believe. Falsifying votes, like Biden did. I didn't know dead people can vote. Did you?
No, I did not. But I think there's not really anything that we disagree on too much. But you definitely should stick
Oh,
around in the community because there's a bunch of good people in here and a lot of good friends that you can
I
make
thought
in
I
the
had.
community. Huh?
I thought I had more egregious things to say. I
Well,
don't know.
if you have something egregious to say it. Because I have
I mean,
another
for
guy
me,
that's a
I feel
full
like.
blown leftist, and he really wants to debate. Go ahead.
All right, one last thing. I thought you were worshiping Trump like a god, and it was kind of like bothering me.
When did I
That's why I kind of
worship
got.
Trump like a god? When did I say I worship Trump? When did I do a prayer to Trump? When did I say Trump is Jesus or God?
I don't. When you were talking about him so much, it sounded that
I
way, and I
I didn't even
misconstrued.
mention
So
Trump in my
gonna.
last stream. I don't even think I
I'm
really.
gonna.
I was talking about Bear and Trump mostly.
Oh, see, now I'm gonna apologize for that. That was my fault, and I'll step aside for the liberal to debate. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna tune in to see how that goes.
All right, awesome. Have a nice night, though, brother. I hope you stick around. You seem like a nice guy. God
Oh,
bless, brother.
yeah.
God bless,
God
man.
bless you too.
Have a good evening. All right, guys, we're gonna call this fella. We're gonna call this fella and see if we can get a better debate. What's up, Jimmy? What's up, Jimmy? How you doing? Hello?
Hello, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm just letting you know you are being recorded. You are on stream. Is that okay with you?
Well, yeah, that's perfect. Exactly what I came here to do.
I saw you were in the politics and religion debate server as well, so we do have another common server. But you joined from the YouTube, right?
Yep, sure did.
So what are your like main talking points? Are you advocating for socialism or more social programs, or what do you mean by Trump and the Republicans are failing the middle class?
Well, exactly that. It's not about social programs or socialism. I think both of those are not necessarily great ideas. It's more about them failing to keep their promises to actually make the middle class and America more affordable.
Well, they did pass to save the Affordable Housing Act.
Uh,
That's definitely going to
the
help a
act
lot.
that sat on Trump's desk for 14 days until it went
Yeah,
through.
because he's trying to get the Save America Act passed. He's trying to use leverage to negotiate.
I thought the whole idea, at least from my time listening to you, was that if you can do it on day one, you should do it on day one. So,
I never said
do we
anything
let?
about doing it on day one. I'm all about negotiating. I'm all about doing things in a strategical manner. I don't care about getting stuff as done fast as possible. I want stuff to be done properly, but rather than quickly as possible.
Okay, well, thinking about
But
that,
let me
would
address
it?
the thing what you said about the bill sitting on his desk. If he really didn't want the bill to pass, he would have just vetoed it. So, I mean, just saying it sat on his desk is not proof that he doesn't support it. But I will
I'm
say,
not
he was
saying.
likely hesitant. He did say out of his own mouth that passing this bill would probably drop home prices for a lot of people that already own homes in some areas. And that was out of his own mouth.
I
And he didn't
mean,
want to
yeah,
hurt
I
those
agree.
homeowners. He didn't want to hurt existing homeowners, but he had to bite the bullet and pass this.
yeah, no matter what we do to make cheaper housing, it does hurt existing homeowners. That's just correct. And if you drop the valuation of a home, people who already own homes aren't going to be able to sell their homes for as much money. More importantly, though, if we look to any of the research that's been done as of recent, including the bipartisan political commission in Congress, published on July 22nd, they found that because of the Trump administration's actions, particularly tariffs and the war in Iran, it's costing average middle-class Americans about $3,500 more every single year to just live in this country.
Well, the income went up $7,500 to $15,000 per family household as well. I have articles and sources for that I can present. So even if that is true, that doesn't outpace the growth in the GDP and the GDP per capita.
Does the GDP per capita represent average family worth, or just dividing all
median
the
incomes? Median incomes have gone up as well. Instead of looking at averages, you can look at median incomes if that's a better way to pull stats for you. Because those have gone up a bit.
Okay. How much has the median income gone up by?
I don't know, a couple $1,000s a year at least. I mean, I can pull sources right now. But we know the average family household has gone up $7,500 to $15,000.
Sure, but if we're taking an average of all of America, then like that also includes Jeff Bezos making $1 billion extra this year,
so
or
does the median,
Elon Musk becoming $1 trillion. Median income does not include that. Do you know what median is?
How do you find a median? How do you find a median?
Median is the exact middle of the income. So
yes,
if you take all of
but how do they calculate it? I learned this in math class in high school. They take the highest number and they take the lowest number, and that's how they put the calculations together. Basically, that's just a simplistic way of putting it. But if you don't want to look at averages or medians, then how are we going to have the argument at all?
Well, I would say that the median is a more accurate thing. And even under the Trump administration, if we're going from the most recent reports from 2023 to 2024 via the census, it's risen by about 1.3% or about $1,000, meaning that the cost of living increase has outpaced that by about $2,500.
Yeah, that's because inflation was 9% under Joe Biden. So, of course, the wages cannot keep up.
When was inflation 9% under Joe? When was inflation most recently 9% under Joe Biden?
2022 or 2023.
Okay, and if people have more money because inflation is literally just printing money, would you not expect people's wages to go up because there is simply more money in the economy?
Printing money isn't the only thing that leads to inflation, but that's definitely a part of it. But do I think people have more money for the economy? No, because like I said, the growth in salaries didn't outpace. The growth in salaries, like you said, I don't know which numbers you pulled up, but right here in front of me it says salaries grew 3.9% in 2023 to 2024. Inflation was 9.1% in that same year. So obviously, the inflation was 3 times as fast as growing wages and salaries. And as far as the greatest desperations to our country and our society, you should really look at COVID, because between 2021 and 2022, home prices nearly doubled. So that's, if you want to blame that on anyone, you can blame that on Biden. And sure, you can make the excuse, oh, it was COVID. But if you're going to make these, if you're going to say any outside influence is a reason to give a president an excuse, then you can do the same thing with Trump. Then we're just going down that rabbit hole and saying, well, this, that, the third.
So, what outside factors have contributed to Trump, to cost of living in Trump's administration increasing by $3,500? Because COVID
Iran putting acts of aggression against America for 47 years and making multiple nuclear threats, Operation Stealing the Reality, Operation Praying Mantis. I mean, these things are all hidden back now 47 years later.
So in 47 years, nobody had to go to war with Iran. And then Trump, when his approval ratings get low, goes to war with Iran for the excuse that they have 7%.
What do you mean war with Iran? We've done multiple military attacks on Iran.
When was the last military attack on Iran prior to the Trump administration?
I mean, it depends. Do you count people working for Iran and getting Iranian funding as Iranian, as the IRGC? Does that count or no?
I mean, us bombing Hezbollah or the Houthis doesn't count because it's not a direct attack against Iran. When was the last time the United States attacked Iran proper?
I can look that up, but it's kind of irrelevant when the fact is they've made multiple nuclear threats against America.
When was
2023,
the
they
last?
said 2023. That was the last time they said that they can and will build a nuclear bomb, and they will bomb America and they will bomb Israel. And then you got Operation Stealing the Reality. Mossad raided Tehran in 2018, and they found 100,000 documents literally saying that they're building their nuclear plans. It had their nuclear plans. It also had their military plans to strike America and Israel.
Okay, so Tulsi Gabbard, the former director of national intelligence, in a joint statement to Congress,
Well, she got
literally said
fired for a reason. So,
it,
okay, but go ahead.
she got fired because she doesn't agree with the Trump administration as the director of national intelligence. Is that
Go
the
ahead.
reason that we're going
No,
with?
that's not the reason. Go ahead. What were you going to say? What did she say?
Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, said that there was no evidence that Iran was building a nuclear bomb
Well, she's
or
lying. She
enriching
doesn't know what she's talking about. We look up Operation Stealing the Reality and then tell me that there's no evidence of Iran trying to build a nuclear bomb. We found 100,000 documents. 100,000 documents of nuclear plans to build a nuclear warhead and bomb Israel and bomb America. It's not even a
Okay,
question if they were trying to build a nuclear weapon. They were trying to build a nuclear weapon. Their own politicians, at least twice, at least 3 times, have said that they will build a nuclear bomb. They said it back in 2004, and then they said it back in 2023. And then Operation Stealing the Reality is unrefutable evidence. Unrefutable evidence. And at least 90% of America has probably never even heard of Operation Stealing the Reality because it was done by the Israeli Mossad. They broke into Iran. They broke into a warehouse, a military warehouse. They found 100,000 documents in the middle of the night of all these nuclear plans, all these nuclear actions, and exactly what they were going to do when they developed the nuclear bomb. Not to mention, we got the same people that were a part of the JCPOA that were actually monitoring the enrichment of the nukes. And it was 87% enriched the last time that they checked, which is, very, very, very close to building a nuclear bomb. And by the way, there's nothing that you can do with uranium. There's nothing you can do with uranium that's above 50%. At that point, there's nothing that you're going to do with it other than build a nuclear weapon. What else would you do with uranium at 87% enriched? You only need 6% enrichment for a nuclear power plant or a nuclear facility. So when you get up to 87%, it just makes no sense at all. What else would they be doing with it?
Okay, so you said a lot there. We'll start with Operation Stealing the Reality, the Mossad 2018 Tehran raid. So what they did in 2018 was they took about 100,000 documents, like you said, that detailed a secret Iranian nuclear program. But all the nuclear activities that they found were between the years 1999 and 2015, prior to even the first Trump administration. Which means
so
that
then why did
we're
they
saying
say in
that a
2023 that they have the plans and they will and can build a nuclear weapon?
Okay, so you're already stepping back on the claim
Well, I'm
that
not stepping back.
Operation
If they weren't planning to build a nuclear weapon, why would they keep these files in an air conditioning warehouse just waiting to be used?
Why did
Why
the
did they even
United
have
States
nuclear
keep the
plans in the first place?
Why did the United States keep the mind control files in an air-conditioned warehouse? It doesn't mean that the United States is trying to mind control people at the
No,
current moment.
mind control is 100% real. You never heard of what's that one thing called where they were experimenting with
MK
LSD?
Ultra, literally what I'm
you
talking
never heard of
about.
that? Exactly. So they were trying to do that. When you find
They
plans,
were
yeah, okay, exactly. Just like Iran
previous.
has the documents, and they were trying to. We don't have any evidence of MK Ultra going on currently, but it's a possibility. It's not
It's a
completely
possibility,
ridiculous.
but a possibility is not a guarantee. Let's
Okay,
look
but
at these direct.
if our government came out and said that we can and we will do MK Ultra, are you just going to say, well, they're probably not going to do it because those documents are really old and they were doing it back then, but they're not doing it now? Like, what kind of logical sense is that? Not to mention they've been screaming death to America for 47 years.
Okay. Okay. Looking back on Trump's first term, Was there not already a deal in place that
The
stopped
JCPOA was
Iran?
going to expire in 2023 anyway. When it comes to the nuclear armaments, the full final deal expires in 2030. But as far as the nuclear armaments and checking their nuclear facilities, that expired in 2023. And to say that Joe Biden would be able to get us back into that deal would be completely a false narrative, because Joe Biden already tried to renegotiate the JCPOA. He gave billions of dollars to Iran, and they still told him no. So I don't really know what
So
you want to say.
right now, so Trump preempted the tearing up of the JCPOA. You already said that, right? So it was
Yeah, and the
initially gonna be-
JCPOA was torn up for multiple reasons. I can tell you why, because a lot of people actually don't know this. But as far as the JCPOA, the process to actually inspect nuclear facilities, you would have to. It was almost an entire month it took to inspect a place. First, you would have to file a letter, which would take 1 week, saying that you would like to request to look at a nuclear facility, or would you like to request to look at the enrichment. And then once that was gone, there was more processes. Then it would have to be approved by the people that were doing. I forget the name of the organization that was.
the
IEAE.
IEAE.
That's it. Yeah, it would have to be approved by them, which would take even more time. So by the time this whole process went through, it took over a month for you to get to a nuclear facility. And not only that, when you got to the nuclear facility, once you finally did get to inspect a nuclear facility, there were still certain areas at particular nuclear facilities where they would not let us look.
Okay, let's just go through all of that. First and foremost, are you not acknowledging that the IAEA was doing the exact same thing in Ukraine, the exact same thing across multiple different?
I don't agree with it. I think they were doing a shitty job.
Okay, if it takes do you think in a month Iran was just like putting curtains around the nuclear enrichment factory?
They don't have to put curtains around it. There's certain areas where you weren't allowed to inspect. They didn't agree to let us in there, so we weren't allowed in there. They don't have to put curtains.
What areas weren't you allowed to go into? Certain areas of the nuclear facility doesn't give me anything. Like, sure, maybe you weren't allowed to go fucking sit in the reactor, but that doesn't really matter if.
Testing. There was restricted areas where you couldn't. There was restricted areas where you couldn't access into.
Okay.
The JCPOA was a failure, a massive failure. We should not trust that for our nuclear protection.
Sure, even if I grant you that the IAEA didn't work or something like that, the U.S. Department of State in 2023 says that the Iranian government only started increasing their enrichment of uranium post the destruction of the JCPOA. That's from the U.S. Department of State in 2023.
Okay. So, and before that, they had 20% enriched uranium, and even before the JCPOA, they had 20%. And we don't know how much they had, because, like I said, there was entire areas you couldn't go into. So we don't know if it was 20%, 40%, or 60%. We don't know what they have. There were certain areas we weren't allowed to inspect.
You'd agree with me that U.S. intelligence is probably the best intelligence service on Earth?
Well, if you're agreeing with me on that, then why don't you trust our recent military decisions on saying that there is a nuclear threat? If you believe that, then why wouldn't you follow the conclusion that they did?
I don't trust our recent decisions because the Director of National Intelligence actively went against them.
Who's that? The woman that got fired way before that even happened?
Tulsi Gabbard, in the joint statement to Congress on the Iranian military operation, directly said that the Iranian government had not enriched past 70% and was not capable of building a nuclear bomb.
Those are two. You said past 70%. Even the IAEA said they had 87%. So there you go. Tulsi was lying. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Because even the people that were enforcing the JCPOA apparently disagree with that. If you're saying they don't have more than 70%, the IAE even says they have 87%. So obviously she's wrong, and how the fuck would she know?
Because she's in charge of the greatest intelligence service on
But
Earth
she
that we've.
got fired because she was doing a shitty job. Just like Pam Bondi, she got fired. A lot of these women are incompetent to do their job, and this is the perfect example. Her 70% number is bullshit. Even the actual people that do nuclear inspections in multiple countries, like you stated, disagree with her. So who are we going to
Okay.
trust?
So as of February 27th, in the most recent IAEA report via Reuters,
And Tulsi said that she, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
they say that Iran had 60% nuclear enrichment. So if anything,
no, they don't. Here, I'll Google
that's
it.
I just looked it up. IAEA say Iran had 87% enriched uranium. If you look to the most recent report, which is as of February, they say that in their most recent inspection, it was about 60% enriched uranium.
That was the overall, but there are pieces of, yeah, here it is. The International
March
Atomic
1st.
Energy, 83 is commonly reported as 84%. So there's particulars, here, I'll read it to you.
That's from a BBC
Iran's,
article in
no, it's
2020.
not. It's directly from them. Iran's highest declared international enrichment target has been 60%. Iran authorities told the IAEA that 83% particles were caused by unintended fluctuations. Unintended fluctuations. So literally the Iranian authorities admitted to testing at 83%, and they said it was unintended fluctuations.
So here's what we have so far. Iran says that they haven't. Iran and the IAEA, both say that it's 60%, and there were certain times that it got to 83.7% because of unintended fluctuations.
Because it was an accident. So the 60% claim wasn't true, and anyone can say anything was an accident. How the fuck do you accidentally enrich uranium? Probably you don't know what the hell you're doing, or you're trying to build a nuclear bomb. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, you shouldn't be touching that shit. And if you're trying to build a nuclear bomb, we should go to war with you.
Okay, Tulsi Gabbard says 70%, and we said
she was wrong.
70% is larger than 60%. So
well,
I don't know.
Wrong. She was not telling the truth about it. She didn't say the 83.7%.
If it's most consistently 70%, then it should be 70%, not 83.7%, which is like.
Okay, but there is uranium that is very close to 90% that they have access to that could be used for a nuclear weapon. Sure, the majority of it is 60 to 70%. I'll concede that. But there is a big amount of uranium that they have that's 83%.
Okay. No one says it's a large amount. It's just certain particles. But even then, even if I grant you that literally every single uranium particle in Iran is 83.7%, that's still not even enough to make a nuclear bomb. So how in the world is it worth going to war with Iran when our director of national intelligence says that it's not happening, and when it actively hurts
our new national intelligence person says it is happening. So there you go. There's two contradicting arguments.
Our new national intelligence person, who was directly appointed by Trump to tell us what he wants.
Tulsi. So was Tulsi. Tulsi was directly appointed by Trump.
Sure, who was fired after she said something Trump doesn't like.
Okay, because she was wrong. She lied to you straight to your face.
Okay, so you're citing
my question is if they have 83% nuclear enrichment, they're telling us that they can and will build a nuclear bomb and that they will bomb America and Israel. And we found 100,000 documents in a warehouse on nuclear plans that can obviously literally build a nuclear weapon. At what point do we step in? Do we never step in? Do we just let them get nuclear weapons and bomb Israel, and then Israel's going to do the Samson option and bomb everyone in the Middle East, and then there's going to be a World War III?
Okay, we'll just go through all of this. So the first was Operation Stealing the Reality, which only found documents pre-2015, which wouldn't have been happening even if the JCPOA.
That was during the JCPOA, wasn't it?
2015.
Yeah, that was Barack Obama.
The JCPOA was finalized on July 14th of 2015 and implemented on January 16th of
Okay,
2016.
so they found documents to build nuclear weapons the same year that they signed this agreement. If they're
They
being
found
honest, shouldn't
documents
they
to
have
build.
turned away their? If they're being honest
They
and
found
fair, shouldn't?
documents to build nuclear weapons from 2015 in 2018 and didn't find anything after 2015.
So
So if
they signed
anything,
an agreement. They signed an agreement. They signed an agreement to. They signed an agreement not to build a nuclear bomb, and then we find plans to build a nuclear bomb, and you think that's okay? Operation
from
Stealing the Reality.
1999,
And,
Operation
and,
Stealing
and
Reality.
Tulsi was not even fired. Her husband is sick, battling cancer, so she had to step down, by the way. Because I wanted to
Okay,
check that too.
yeah, I knew that. I was just going to accept the firing narrative, but um, which again proves she was at least a competent director of national intelligence. But if we're going back to Operation Stealing Reality, they only found documents from prior to the JCPOA being finalized on July 14th of 2015. They found documents from 2015, but that proves that the Iranian nuclear program wasn't in effect during the JCPOA.
It was in effect. They signed the agreement and they were still had nuclear plans. They didn't turn over their nuclear plans. And also, they
Was
literally made these
turning
nuclear
over
plans in 2015 after they signed the bill.
was turning over the nuclear plans a part of the JCPOA? Because
If they're being
there's
honest, they should have turned them over. Should they not have? Or do you think they should have plans to build nuclear bombs? Is that what you're advocating for now?
I'm fine with Iran having shitty plans in a fucking warehouse from prior
And
to
you're
adopting.
also fine with Iran having 83% enriched uranium. Are you fine with them having a nuclear bomb too? You might as well at this point just advocate for them to have a nuclear bomb. I've seen that argument before.
I'm not advocating for them to have a nuclear bomb. I don't want them to have a nuclear
But at
bomb.
the
I'm
same
saying
time, you don't think we should stop them.
I don't think Trump is stopping them from creating a nuclear bomb. And even if Trump is stopping them from building a nuclear bomb, it's his fault that they have or close to making a nuclear bomb. And if our director of national intelligence,
How is it his fault when they had the nuclear plans after they signed the JCPOA?
Okay, if the last nuclear plan was in 2015 and they didn't find the documents until 2018 sitting in a warehouse in boxes, does that mean that they're still actively working on nuclear plans?
I mean, if 2023 they said that we can and we will build a nuclear bomb.
That's after Trump got rid of the JCPOA.
So they do want to build a nuclear bomb then. Either they want to build one or they don't want to build one. If they want to build one, the JCPOA isn't going to stop them, is it? Like, how the hell is it going to stop them?
And when did Iran say that they wanted a nuclear bomb? Because I can't find anything about this.
In 2023. And
when did they
back in 2006.
2006 is way too long ago for us to be having this discussion. When did they say this in 2023?
Here, I'll pull it up. I mean, there's quite literally nothing that Iran could do for you to realize that they're building a nuclear bomb. Like, how? Here we go. I have it right here. Khamenei. This is what Khamenei said in July of 2022. It is no secret that we have technical capabilities to build a nuclear bomb.
That's not saying that. That's not saying what you said it said. You're telling me that they said, hey, we're going to build a bomb and also we're going to strike Israel and the United States with it.
I mean, they've said that in the past before.
What?
I can look that up too.
In 2006, which I don't give a shit about. But if they say that they have the capabilities to do it, that doesn't mean that they can do it immediately or that they're currently doing it.
Even if they said it during the JCPOA, you would still not agree with it.
Yeah, because I don't think they said it during the JCPOA.
But if they did, hypothetically, if they did, you still wouldn't agree to go into Iran. There's nothing that would make you want to go into Iran. Is that true or false?
If Iran painted a big old sign on the nuclear weapons factory and kept saying, we have a nuclear bomb and we will kill those pig dog Americans.
So we have to let them build the nuclear bomb first. And
no,
then we can go in and go after them. That's what you just told me. You said we have to let them build a nuclear bomb, and then if they threaten us, we could go in. Oh, yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
I
really
didn't
smart
say
military strategy.
I said that if they put a fucking sign on the nuclear bomb factory and said that we're going to build a nuclear bomb to kill the pig dog Americans, then I would support us going into Iran. The issue is they never did that.
They have told us multiple times that they plan on doing a
2000
bombing and nuclear attacks on America and Iran. They literally say death to America. So
They can
what would
say
you
death
do?
to
What would you do? Would you just let them have the JCPOA and let them keep secretly enriching uranium, or what would you do?
I would say that the JCPOA was working because they
It
didn't.
was not working because we literally couldn't even go into full nuclear sites.
The IAEA had no evidence of them enriching past the point.
How can they
of
have evidence when they don't let them into the nuclear facility and they close off certain parts of the nuclear facilities? How are they going to get evidence? The whole purpose of it is to hide the evidence.
So you're telling me
If they had
that the
nothing to hide, then why didn't they open the doors and say, come here, look at everything, no problem here? And why did it take a month to investigate any of these nuclear sites?
Okay, you're telling
Like,
me
how
that the
do you think this is a fair and free deal?
Because I think that the same nuclear inspectors who were inspecting Ukraine when we took away their nuclear weapons are competent enough
We
to
don't
make sure
know
that
if there's
Iran.
any nukes in Ukraine.
We
I don't think they
do.
are competent. If it takes a month to check nuclear facilities, I'm not sure of that shit. You can move
How
a nuke
long?
in a week. You can move a nuke in a week. You can move uranium in a week. A
Okay,
fucking month?
let's-
Are you kidding me?
Let's just take the idea that Iran is so close to building a nuclear bomb right now.
There's
Why
nothing.
didn't they
You
do-
already admitted it. You said there's literally nothing that would antagonize you enough to go into Iran.
I said that if they were literally claiming to have a nuclear weapon, or the IAEA
Oh, so
found
they have to build a nuclear weapon first. Okay.
no, if there was evidence of them building a nuclear weapon, I would say that we should take action against them. But the 83.7% number that you told me happened in 2023. Our director of national intelligence says 70%, and most of all, this has
What do you
killed
do with
America.
70%? Okay, what do you do with 70% uranium? Can that be used in a nuclear facility for nuclear energy, or is that way too enriched?
70% nuclear enriched uranium isn't building a bomb.
Then please tell us, what is it being used for? What's the purpose of it?
I don't know. I'm not a nuclear scientist.
Then there's no other purpose than to building a bomb. There's nothing else you can do with it other than build a fucking bomb. That's a
70%
perfect
can't be-
answer. You don't know.
70% literally can't be used to build a bomb.
It was 83%, and it takes a couple more weeks to get it to 90%.
Okay.
What else do you do with it? There's nothing else you do with 70% enriched uranium other than keep enriching it until you build a bomb.
Okay, let's go with this idea that they had 83.7%, and
It's not an idea. You agreed to it before.
they had 83.7% in 2023. Let's say it does take a couple of weeks for them to hit that 90% number and start blowing up people. Why didn't they do it? They had 3 years.
3 years for what? Because they
To
don't have the
take that-
materials. They were trying to get the materials.
You say that they have 83.7%. It takes a couple of weeks to enrich to the point that they could have a nuclear bomb. If they have the materials and they have the enriched uranium
They
to
don't
do
have
it,
the materials.
why didn't
They don't have the
build a
materials.
bomb?
They don't have the
If they-
materials. Huh?
If they don't have the materials, why are we in Iran?
Because they can easily purchase them. All they need is the nuclear centrifuges. They got caught trying to buy them.
Then if they got caught trying to buy them, then there's no fucking risk. If in 2023 they didn't build a bomb, then there's no risk in 2026, because at the exact same time that you're telling me that they had 83.7% enriched uranium and could build a nuclear bomb in a couple of weeks, they didn't build a bomb in 3 years.
Okay, it took North Korea 35 years to build a nuclear weapon. Probably longer
You're
than that.
You're telling me Iran had near 47.
What do you mean near 47?
You're telling me that this is a war that started 47 years ago.
Yes.
That in 1999
They
were
didn't
working on.
start trying to build a nuke right away. It took North Korea has been trying to build a bomb since World War II, and they finally got one a couple years ago.
Okay, so they've had it.
So you can't build a nuclear bomb overnight. It's not rocket science. You don't just put two pieces of puzzle together, and it's not like a basic rocket. It's a nuclear fucking bomb. It's
Yeah.
nuclear science. It's not just rocket science. It's above rocket science. It's
Okay.
difficult.
They've had 27 years to do it. They've had 3 years since you say that they hit the point of enrichment that they could have built a nuclear bomb. Why haven't they done it? Why is it such a risk now?
Because it takes a long time to build a nuclear weapon. What country built a nuclear weapon in 1 week? Can you give me any examples? Because that doesn't exist. It takes years and years and
You
years.
told
It's a
me it took a
possibility.
week.
Yeah, it took a week to enrich. It takes a couple weeks to enrich the uranium, but uranium isn't the only component to building a nuclear bomb.
Okay, if Iran still needs so much time to build,
even if we take nukes out of equation, even if we take the nuclear threat out of equation, I'll even just concede for the sake of the argument. Even if we just say the nuclear isn't a threat, I still think we should have gone into Iran.
Why is that?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you believe there's a genocide going on in Gaza?
No.
Okay, well, if you did believe that there was a genocide going on, do you think there's a genocide going on in any country?
Like Sudan, maybe?
Okay. So should America or some other government intervene so they don't have so they're not genocide? Do you feel bad for those people? Do you think they should be, freed from persecution?
I mean, yes, but there's a lot of complex issues in stepping in and intervening in conflicts across the globe.
And not to mention, why do you think Biden moved 5,000 Marines and Navy ships into the Strait of Hormuz in 2023? That was because he was worried about the Iranians cutting us off from the Strait of Hormuz, and he wanted to put military power there because that quite literally shows you that Joe Biden would have launched a military attack on them if they showed any kind of aggression. Huh?
First and foremost, no, it doesn't, because we moved all of those.
Yes, it does.
Because we moved all of those troops there because
to fight
we were
against the Houthis, but those were the Iranians. Once again, the Houthis get 100% of their money from Iran, so I didn't look at them as Iranians.
The Houthis don't get 100% of their money from Iran. They're quite literally one of the biggest. They're one of the biggest drug traffickers on the planet. But we weren't there to fight.
Iran is the number one funder of terrorists in the world. Do you disagree with that?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so why shouldn't we take out the literal biggest terrorist country in the world?
Because it ruins our economy and kills good American men and women.
Good American women die every year just from training exercises in the military. So should we stop the military too?
Not altogether? At this rate.
500 people die every year on average from military training exercises. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, but those people aren't dying from bombs from foreign countries.
They do die from bombs. Maybe not from foreign countries, but they do die from bombs time to time.
Okay, accidental. I really don't care about accidental military deaths. I care about deaths at war and unnecessary.
So you don't. So all lives aren't equal then. All lives aren't equal. Okay.
No.
These people knew what they were getting themselves into when they signed up for the military.
Yeah, but they shouldn't die in unnecessary wars. I don't think
necessary. It is necessary. Iraq, if you want to say Iraq wasn't necessary, I mean, we did liberate the people. They have a lot more freedom right now. But as far as Afghanistan, that's a tricky one. I don't really agree with Afghanistan too much. But Iraq, I think that was a pretty good thing. And as far as Venezuela, that was a perfect military operation. Perfectly done.
Okay. Again.
And not to mention, we owe Iran an ass kicking just for all the shit they did. I mean, we got our revenge back, but one American life should equal millions of theirs. Or we should at least overthrow the IRGC, because there's probably not even millions of IRGC, honestly. So we should probably just attack those people that attacked us. Because if you look at Operation Praying Mantis, they put a landmine out in the middle of the ocean and they bombed an entire boat sunk. They sunk an entire Navy ship. And it's not like, it's not like they apologized afterwards. They basically just stuck up the middle fingers and said, fuck you.
Yeah, we've bombed Iran in the past. We've killed members of the Iranian National Guard because of in response for their aggression on America. What we haven't done is bombed Iran, cut off major areas of trade, increased prices for Americans in a short-sighted attempt that's ultimately failed to accomplish anything.
How has it failed to accomplish anything? And as far as prices increasing, gas is still cheaper than it was under Joe Biden. We're under $4 a gallon average. Not to mention last year we had under $3 gallon average. So what are you talking about?
Okay, gas was cheap pre fucking Iran war. Whoop-de-doo.
It's still cheaper
And
than it was in 2023.
2023 was post-COVID.
So now we're just
COVID-19
giving excuses. You don't get to give excuses for the president. I could say my excuse would be, well, Iran, they did all this terrorism on us first. That's why we get their excuses for the prices, just like you Democrats do for Biden. Oh, COVID, we couldn't control COVID. We can't control Iran either. We can't control Iran either. So saying outside forces gives the president an excuse is a pathetic answer. They should take accountability.
Donald Trump struck first in the 12-day war, and then after the 12-day war, in this most recent set of attacks against Iran, who struck first? It was the United States of America and Israel in junction. Then Iran strikes back, the United States strikes back, and it's a continuous cycle that leaves
So you don't think we should have taken out the world leader? The supreme leader. You don't think we should have taken out the supreme leader?
Not really. He was like 87. He was going to die soon anyway. They immediately replaced him with his son. I don't give a shit that he's dead.
His son left. His son fled the country. So apparently you haven't been paying attention to much news recently.
Al-Khamenei and the Al-Khamenei family still control Iran. They're still the supreme
leader. They
leader.
fled the country. He fled the country. Take a Google search. He fled the country.
When did Al-Khamenei's son flee the country? And how does that not mean that...
Recently.
And when... Does that still not mean that... That doesn't mean that he's still not in charge of Iran.
How is he in charge of Iran when he's not even inside the country? No one's gonna listen to him. He wasn't even in charge of Iran when he was inside the country, because his lips got fucking blown off and his fingers got fucking blown off and he got handicapped like a motherfucker. So how he can't even fucking talk because his lips got fucking blown off? How is he controlling the IRGC? Not one single person has seen him in public or even seen him speak. All we know is when we killed his father that we blew his fucking face halfway off his fucking body. He's not controlling the IRGC.
Okay, let me just ask this. So I assume you think that the... God, why am I blanking on the name? The terrorists in Gaza, they have a leadership structure, right?
Not really, no. There's 13 terrorists. They have probably some, but it's not a centralized leadership structure like America. It's nothing comparable to a democracy or anything like that. It's very disorganized. Like here, I can give you a proof of this. When we had the ceasefire in Gaza, where America brokered that ceasefire agreement, literally members of Hamas were shooting and fighting at other Palestinians and other terrorist groups because they didn't agree on the ceasefire. Like, obviously, that's not a centralized power. These terrorists are too stupid to do any kind of real centralized structure where they can control what's going on.
So Hamas doesn't have a leadership structure, including
they have a
most of their
structure, but it's not very organized. It's not like a democracy. It's not like America. Sure, there's one guy that's probably the leader. Are there a bunch of other guys that probably fuck with him and fight amongst each other? Absolutely.
So I'm only finding one source that says that Mohabda Khamenei has left the country as of July 19th.
Well,
and that was
it. Believe it or not, but he hasn't been seen. He's either in hiding. He's either hiding in a cave with his face half blown off, which means he's not leading Iran, or he left the country and he's not leading Iran. There's no possibility this guy is leading Iran. I mean, if you trust the central intelligence of the United States government so much, then you should know that they've even said they tried negotiating with specific people many times, and there's been counter arguments within the IRGC of people not wanting to take the deal or take the deal with America.
Yeah, that's how every single leadership structure,
Uh,
leadership structure,
no, they're
people
not
are.
voting on it. They're just getting violent with each other and they're not enforcing it. They're not working together. It's not a centralized power. Do you really think this is like some kind of centralized power where one guy just controls everything and everyone's just listening to do exactly what the guy says and he's saying do
No,
this,
I
do that?
no, I think Tehran and Iran have the same sort of leadership structure that like countries like Saudi Arabia have, where
No,
they have
that
a
is a
variety.
joke. We've killed like we've killed a lot of their leaders. So how is it a centralized it's nothing like Saudi Arabia. If their leadership was ever anything like Saudi Arabia, their country would have never looked like a shitty ass, city in the middle of the fucking desert. I mean, I'm not an advocate for Saudi Arabia, but their cities are definitely a lot more beautiful and their leadership's definitely a lot more intelligent. And they
I'm not
definitely have
saying that.
a bit more of
I'm not
central command
arguing.
and power. The leadership structure in Saudi Arabia is probably not comparable to any other Muslim country other than maybe like the UAE.
I'm not arguing that Saudi Arabia's leadership's at the same level as Iran. I'm just saying it's a council of different leaders under the supreme leader who
No, they
really
don't have a
doesn't have
council. They don't have any kind of democracy.
the princes of Saudi Arabia and the tribes of
I'm
Saudi
talking
Arabia
about
have.
Iran.
Yeah, Iran has a council of different people who work together in order to work
They're
on
not working
certain
together.
decisions.
They're not working together.
Iran literally has a prime minister and a
And
bunch
they're
of different
not working
people.
together. Didn't the prime minister get his life taken?
The prime
Anyway?
minister. No, we specifically didn't target the prime minister because he's the one who we wanted to negotiate it.
Oh yeah, that's right. That Israel wanted to take out the. No, wait. That was you're
Yeah,
thinking about the Indian prime, or you're thinking about the Pakistani prime minister that was negotiating the deals with us with Iran.
I'm saying that the like top political leaders in Iran, particularly we left certain political leaders alive in Iran because they were the people we wanted to negotiate, including the president of Iran.
If the power is centralized like you're claiming, then why don't they just vote every single time they get an offer or every single time they negotiate? Why don't they just have a vote on to see what's going to happen instead of just fighting and shooting at each other and fighting amongst each other? I mean, I'm not going to
Is
say I
there
know that they're
any?
shooting at each other, but it's likely, it's possible.
I
It
mean, we
happens
can't
in
just
other
say it's
terrorist
probably, it's
countries.
likely. There's no evidence that they are shooting at each other. We can't just
Well,
say
they
the
are. We
absence of
know that we
evidence
know
is
the
evidence for
civilians are
me.
shooting at the government. We know the civilians in the street are killing the government off.
Yeah, cool, but there's an uprising. I don't care. The like top political leadership's alive. There is centralized power in Iran. I don't know why we've gotten off on this tangent
And
when
if
I'm
you're
just.
pro-Israel, then why don't you trust their intelligence agency either? You said you don't think there's a genocide going on in Israel.
I just don't think that it's a it's a good term to say genocide. I think that there are better terms that we could use, including humanitarian crisis or just like senseless war crimes. I don't think Israel's Gaza actions are 100% justified.
Why is it not 100% justified when 87% of the population voted in Hamas back in 2005 for one promise to go to war with Israel and bomb the living shit out of them?
Because 2005 is not 2026. The average
Yeah, they had the
age,
same government. They had the same government.
they voted once and then never again.
Yeah, they voted in terrorists. And that was the
In
majority of the
2000,
population.
the majority of the population in 2005 did. But if you look at the average age in Gaza, the majority of those people weren't even alive in 2005.
A lot of them. Yeah, that's true. But okay, and when you have a population of a country where the majority of them votes in terrorists, that's dooming the entire. Nation, country, city, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, so the argument here justifies us just like going around and blowing up German civilians because they voted in evil people in 1945.
Well, we
It
did.
justifies.
Once we moved the Nazis out, we allowed them to have what they have now. Just
Sure.
like once we move the terrorists out, like once we move Hamas out, or once we move the other 13 terrorist organizations that are inside Gaza out, we can let them do. I mean, it's probably not going to be a two-state solution. Neither side wants a two-state. The Palestinians don't want a two-state, and the Israelis really don't want a two-state. The majority of them. I'm not going to say all of them.
Yeah, I didn't come here to argue Israel, Gaza, or really the Iran war in general. More, but most importantly, Trump is just failing the middle class because prices are rising when he was promised to be a president who would work on affordability. You've given one example of Trump doing anything to do affordability, which was
Gas prices are down. That's example two.
gas prices are down from COVID-19 and they are steadily rising because of the war in Iran.
So gas prices are cheaper and home prices are going to be becoming cheaper. So there's two examples right there.
Gas prices
What are you
gas
advocating
prices
for then? Do you want socialism or what do you want? Because as far as I'm concerned, uh,
is
go
the
ahead. I'll let you
alternative to
respond.
Trump socialism?
I mean, that's what it feels like to me in this country right now because the Democrats are losing. It's only basically MAGA versus the Democrat socialists.
Uh, I would say that I am more of a democratic centrist. I believe that capitalism and free markets work when they aren't affected by the idiot in office. And let's just go back to your example of 2023 gas prices, because gas in
Okay, let's
2023
talk about a huge thing too. Let's talk about interest rates. That helps the middle class a lot. The interest rates under
in,
Biden for home prices was almost 10%. And
yeah, interest
like
rates
that's if you had an 800 credit score, you would get almost a 10% interest rate.
interest rates are raised in order to combat inflation because we had to have high inflation in order because we were spending a lot to counteract COVID-19.
Okay, we didn't need to spend all that money. We spent $500 billion on green energy.
That's good.
How is
Green
that
energy
good?
makes
You printed
green energy
$500 billion from out of fucking nowhere just to give people like Elon Musk, which you probably don't even fucking like, money.
green energy is good because it creates jobs for good, hardworking, middle class Americans. And the thing that you're talking about, the Inflation Reduction Act, was net neutral on its spending. We cut
It was
spending
not
in
net
order
neutral. How is it net neutral?
because all of the bills that Biden passed, the CHIPS Act and the Inflation Reduction Act,
We're both
cuts fund,
failures.
cut fund, both of them cut funding to other things in order to be net neutral
What did they cut
on.
funding on? No, no. Tell me what they cut funding on. How do you cut $1 trillion of funding? Because between those two bills, you're up over $1 trillion. What did he cut that was $1 trillion in funding? Because Trump didn't even cut $1 trillion in funding. So if you're telling me that Biden cut $1 trillion in funding, I want to know how. And the Inflation Reduction Act was a failure. Shortly after, we saw some of the highest inflation we've ever had. And the CHIPS Act was also a failure because we still have a chip shortage to this day. So
Are
neither one of those things. And the Inflation Reduction Act literally had nothing to do with lowering inflation. The whole entire bill was just about spending more money, which you already conceded to that it raises inflation.
okay. So we had to spend more money in order to combat a recession under COVID-19. Would you agree that when we spend more money, we put money into the economy, which combats recessions?
No, the majority of this money from the Inflation Reduction Act went to like the top 1%, like I already mentioned
We're
before.
not
It went
we're
to
not
the
even
Elon
talking about
Musk's.
we're not even talking about the Inflation Reduction Act. Do you have to spend money to combat recession?
Probably not. There's probably ways to avoid that.
What are the ways that you avoid
You
that?
can spend money, don't spend the government's money. Make the private sector spend some of their money.
How do you force the private sector to spend money in order to fight
You
inflation,
incentivize it by giving tax reductions.
where the taxes were already at all-time lows under the Biden administration because
No,
of the
they
tax
weren't.
cut?
He raised corporate tax rates. Joe Biden raised corporate tax rates. That's another lie. Google it. Because I know for a fact Trump just lowered his corporate tax rates back to what they were prior to Biden during his first term. He matched his same corporate tax rates he had in his first term. Biden raised the corporate tax rates up. Trump repealed them again this term and brought them back to what they were back in 2015 or back in 2016, 2017. I hear the clicking. I hear the clicking. Do your research.
Yeah, I just like typing. So, more importantly than this tirade that we've been dragged into, you say that gas prices are the big like marker for the middle class, right?
No, I have better markers for the middle class. I think as much as you hate, as
Okay,
much as you're going to tell me that this is not a marker for the middle class, I'm going to have to disagree with you. The stock market is also another huge marker. 60% of America owns stocks. Rather it's in a
sure.
401k or whatever. And the stock market has gone up over 55% since Trump has been in office. So that means pretty much everyone's retirement funds have gone significantly up. Or anyone that's in the market in any type of way. So there's multiple ways. I'm not saying that our economy is perfect. It can definitely be improved on. There can always be improvement. I'm not here to say, oh, Trump's perfect, the economy is going perfect. I would like to see other bills passed, and I would like to see more stuff done, especially with the grocery prices. The grocery prices in my area have gone down a bit since COVID for sure, but on a state on a federal level, places like California and New York really need it.
Okay, let's just go on down. Let's talk about the stock markets thing because I agree, stock markets are up. That's just right. You're just correct. Good job. Stock markets always go up. They're always hitting record highs.
The stock market has significantly outperformed Joe Biden's market.
What year are we taking? Because if we're
Any of
talking
the
about
years, any of the
if
years, even after we came back from the crash, I'll even let you do 2021. That's probably the best year of Biden's stock market, right? 2021, or is it 20? I'll probably guess 2021 or 2024 would be Biden's best year in the stock market. Because 2021 was recovering from a flash crash in the market, and 2024 was, years after COVID. So
okay, over Biden's administration, per God, I wish there was better sources on this because nobody wants to fucking talk
you
about this.
have to look at
Per
the S&P.
yeah, I'll just use the S&P. S&P in 2021 alone was about 27%. If we look over the entire term, it was 55 to 56%. The stock
Okay,
market
so
literally.
so Trump in 1.5 years has done better in the stock market than Biden did in 4 years. And 2021, I told you, was going to be the best data because we were recovering from the first stock market crash in probably about at least 10 years. So of course those numbers are going to be high. We just recovered from the flash crash of 2020. March 2020, there was a stock market flash crash.
Yeah,
The whole
the stock
market
market
went down
crashed.
like the whole market went down like 55%. So of course, when Biden's on the recovery end of the market, he's going to get that 27%. So
I'm
most
just
of
saying.
Biden's gains were just rebounds from the market in general.
I'm just saying that when we talk about no, okay, for the S&P 500 went from raised about 67% over the course of the 4 years under Joe Biden, from January 20th of 2017 to January 20th of 2021. The stock market is literally always increasing. It's a line;
I
it goes up.
agree. I agree. I agree. But the thing is, it's better performing now. That means more Americans are benefiting at a much faster rate. Is that wrong?
I would disagree because the stock market has routinely been dipping and rising and dipping and rising.
Dipping. That's even better. That's even better. In 2023, the stock market was stagnant. It wasn't dipping. It wasn't rising. It was just stagnant. So yes, it dipping allows more people to purchase in their portfolios, and then it's going to go back up. So yes, dipping and going back up makes people even more money. It lets
So
people
the
buy
S&P
in and
5
hold. Every time it dips,
in
people
20
buy and they hold.
in 2023, the S&P 500 climbed 24.2% over the year, which is about the same as it's risen over the year in Trump's term.
You
And
just
even then,
said
there was like,
you just said 4 years was 55%. The
it
S and
was
P
67.
500. Okay, at
It was
the
60,
height.
it was
Listen,
67% over those 4
go ahead.
years from January. It was 67 from January of 2017 to January of 2021. In 2023, it was 24.2% over the year.
Would you like to compare Trump's first 4 years to Biden's first 4 years? We can look at the stock market performance at that as well, because acting like Biden outperforms Trump in the stock market is just completely disingenuous altogether.
From 2016 to 2020 is not comparable from 2020 to 2024 because you had to come back from a major crash versus a pretty steady economy.
If you're coming back from a major crash, that means the stock market's going to show even higher results than the actual number. That means you lost 50%. Yes, it does. That means you went down 50%, and now you're going to have a quick shoot back up 25%, 24%.
If the economy is for shit and
if you're recovering from a crash, then the stock market is going to look like it's doing really good percentage-wise, because that's why people buy the dips, because when it goes up, you're going to gain a lot more than if you just buy on a regular old day.
People can't buy the dip when the stock market's crashing because our trade routes are gone. Our production is halted because there's a fucking global
pandemic. They can go on Robinhood and purchase it. What do you mean? They can put $100 in the stock market portfolio and purchase it.
If they don't have money, how are they supposed to be going onto a Robinhood and paying $100?
If they don't have money, then why? They should probably be worried about getting a job first. They shouldn't even be thinking about investing. So what kind of point is that? What kind of talking point is that?
It's COVID-19. People lost their jobs.
They got their checks. They got their stimulus checks. Everyone was balling back in 2021 and 2020 when those stimulus checks hit. Who are we kidding? Everyone was out partying, spending those money. They were getting their unemployment money. There was money in the economy. Are you doubting there was money going around in the economy from all the government spending?
There was money going around in the economy because the government spent to recover from a major recession.
Exactly, and that devalued the money completely.
Okay, we're doing something here. So, the stock market is doing good under Trump. The stock market literally always rises. What I've told
it's doing phenomenal.
It's doing okay. It's doing okay.
No, it's doing phenomenal. It's doing the best it's done in the last 20 years. Other than Trump.
After we entirely recovered the economy prior to the Trump administration. You're telling me like a Trump administration going to...
Isn't inflation transitory? Isn't inflation transitory? Isn't that what Biden told us?
I don't care what Biden said.
Well, okay.
Inflation continues on, sure.
If you're just going to say the stock market goes up under everyone, then I'm just going to tell you prices go up under everyone. It's the same stupid fucking argument. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but this is particularly different.
It's not particularly different. Inflation is slower, if that's what you mean.
So the Joint Economic Committee on July 22nd found that middle-class families are spending about $3,500 more on everyday essentials.
You already point out this talking point. I already told you that the average family household income already went up $7,500 a year.
You told me that, and then we looked at the median, not the average, which is what you do when you're doing economic work, and we found that it was 1.8% or about $1,000.
Is your number showing median? No, that's the number you found. That's the number you found.
Census.gov. The census report told you that.
What census report? For what year?
2024.
Okay, so then we don't have numbers for 2025 and 2026.
So we can't just say GDP go up.
No, the GDP per capita did go up. There's no way to average it out if there's no government statistics on it.
The GDP per capita does go up when people like Elon Musk are becoming trillionaires.
Yeah,
because
and it also goes down when his stock goes down. He's no longer a trillionaire.
Yeah. So you're telling it. So what we're at here is the GDP per capita, but that doesn't say that American families have $7,500 more dollars.
I'll pull up the article and source right now.
Okay. We can just go down the list by the Joint Economic Committee because they say that it would cost about $695 more for housing since Trump took office.
That's also
Americans-
completely incorrect. Housing in Florida, which is one of the number one booming markets in the world, has gone down. I think the last numbers I pulled was 22% last year. So,
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care about Florida. I care about America.
Well, I don't
You
give
can't
a
just
fuck
say-
about your poor leadership in California and New York. You're hurting the rest of us. Those are Democrat leadership. When it comes to housing prices, it has a lot to do with local government. Do you agree or do you disagree? Because it's the local government that's going to make all those red tapes and all those regulations and all those costs for permitting. It isn't the federal government.
Yeah, I'm not fucking Zoran Mamdani. I don't know why you're yelling at me.
Okay, so then I don't know what you want to say. When everywhere else in the country, house prices have gone down, and then you got California and New York where they've gone up.
Florida, you've cited Florida where it's gone down 22%, which I don't even know if I necessarily agree with, but because you haven't cited anything. But
Let's see.
again, the Joint Economic Committee found that on average, American families have to spend $695 more on housing costs such as rent or mortgage payments since President Trump took office. His promise to the American people was that he was going to bring down rent and mortgage payments. He's
And I already
failed.
told you how he's doing that. You literally conceded to the argument that he passed the bill and it's going to bring down the prices. So I don't even know what we're talking about.
I never conceded he passed the bill because he fucking didn't.
He didn't veto it. He didn't veto it, so he let it pass. You either have two options. Either let it pass or veto it. You can't just say that he tried to stop it. He didn't try to stop it.
By that standard, I passed that bill. I did about the same amount of work Trump
No,
did.
you're not the president. The president is the one. You understand how this works? They present the bill to the president. The president either has two options: do nothing or veto it, or sign it. Those are the three options.
Rubber
Okay.
stamp it.
He eventually had to sign it. Did he not?
No, he never signed it.
You're saying that he never signed it.
He never signed it. It fell out of
when it passes, when it comes back to him, yeah?
No, it passes 14 days after it hits the president's desk without action.
Yeah, okay, so he didn't do anything. So he let it pass, therefore. He literally let it pass.
I also let it pass. I didn't do anything.
But you're not the president. You couldn't do anything. You don't have any power.
You let it pass. You didn't do anything.
We don't have any power. We're not in government.
Yeah, but
That's
arguing
a stupid argument. You have no power. You couldn't even change your local government, much less the country's government.
Arguing.
What is your point? Arguing saying that he let it sit on his desk is not an argument to say that he didn't want the bill. If he didn't want the bill, he would have vetoed it.
Arguing that if you do nothing, then it's good for you. Then that's a credit for him.
Yes, because he was using it as a negotiating tip. Do you think the Save America Act should be passed?
No, I don't think the Save America Act should be passed.
Why don't you want voter ID?
Because the way that they're doing voter ID is restrictive and weird.
How is it restrictive and weird?
I'm not here to debate the Save America Act.
You don't even know. You don't even know. You have all these opinions and you don't even know. How is it restrictive? When I need an ID to buy a fucking lighter at the street down the store. Why the fuck don't you need an ID to vote in California? You can literally show up to California and say, here's where I live, this is my name, can you look up my voter registration? And that's all it takes. You don't need an ID or anything.
That's a form of identification.
Your name and address is not a form of identification. You can copy that from anybody. That's opening the doors for a lot of fraud. I can look up any name and anyone's address online and just say, I'm Joe Blow from down the street. Let me vote.
Yeah.
Do you want illegal alien immigrants to vote? Do you want illegal alien immigrants to vote?
No, but I don't.
If there's no fraud and you don't want illegal alien immigrants to vote, then give me one reason why we shouldn't pass it. Is it because the Democrats told you not to, or do you have an actual reason? And if you can't think of a reason, that means you're just regurgitating opinions you heard through the news. And you don't have a legitimate opinion.
I've read in the news that it's not a great bill because we already have adequate voter protections in the United States.
So you don't think you should require a ID to vote?
Because voter registration
and if there's if there's adequate safe voting, then why are we fighting voter fraud in this county, that county, that county? I'm not saying it's enough to
Okay.
change an election, but you're denying that voter fraud is happening altogether. We're finding thousands of dead people on the voter registries, and when dead people are on voter registries, that means they're receiving mail-in ballots to their houses when they're dead, meaning anyone can fill out these ballots and send them in and vote.
They pull dead people from the registries. I've worked in voter registration before.
They have not pulled every single person from the dead. If you worked in voter registry, that doesn't validate your opinion. That just means in your state, from what you saw. That doesn't mean nationwide.
Okay, in North Carolina,
If there's no fraud happening, why can't we require a voter ID?
If there's no fraud, then there's no reason to do it.
No,
in
I'm
North
saying
Carolina,
if there is fraud. Sorry, I said that wrong. If there is some voter fraud, then why can't we use? If there's no fraud going on, then why not just let us pass it? What's the negatives? If there's no fraud going on, why not just let us pass it?
Because IDs in certain states are restrictive, and
how is it restrictive? How is it restrictive?
Because certain communities have more, particularly low-income ones, have more trouble getting an ID than richer people.
Okay, so you think poor people are too stupid to get IDs. Okay, so you're just going to put all those black and brown communities and say they're too stupid to get a driver's license.
Whoa!
Even though you need a driver's license or an ID to do fucking anything. Literally anything. You can't even rent an apartment. Well, that's who you're talking about. That's the majority of the poor neighborhood. That's a lot of poor people in the neighborhoods.
I mean, no. What are you talking about?
Yes.
You just added on the black part because you're.
No, I didn't.
I said lower income people have more trouble getting ID.
Per capita, who takes the most welfare per capita? What group of people?
Looking to the Pew Research Center, it's. I don't
per capita.
know per capita.
Black women. Black women, on average, black women have a higher rate of welfare than white men. There we go. This is not a racist argument. This is a statistical argument. This is facts.
White women have double the chance of taking welfare.
Don't. There's a higher you're talking about the total population. You're not talking per GDP, or you're not talking per capita. I mean, you're not talking
Pew
per capita.
Research Center 2013.
Send me the article. Send me the article. That's not true.
You can just look it up. It's the same thing you've been telling me to do. So yeah, I'll agree with
per capita. Okay, so you agree on what?
So 4 in 10 black women have received welfare at some point in their life. And if we look at white women are about 8% more likely, about twice as likely as white men to receive assistance. If we look at the number of people who receive. Look up Pew Research Center, July 12th of 2013. The politics and demographics.
This is a study from 13 years ago. Can you show a more recent study?
What's the study that you're...
On per capita proportion basis, black women have a higher rate of participation in public assistance, Medicare housing subsidies than white women.
Yeah, I'm not saying white women have a higher chance. I'm just saying white women do it more than white men.
No, then white women do it more than white men, but black women but black women do it more than white women and white men.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, so then stop trying to point me out as like a racist for pointing out the fact that the majority of the people that are going to be affected are black and brown communities. If what you're saying is true, but I don't think they're so stupid they can't go down to the DMV and get a $10 ID.
I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm saying that when you work a job for 8 hours a day and you have less...
So how did they get the job? Wait. How did they get the job? Because to get a job, you need to present some kind of form of ID. So how the fuck did they get a job if they don't have a form of ID?
Not necessarily.
No, you have to. You have to. Every single job has to present ID and social security number or some form of identification. There's no way to get hired and get put on a W-2 form without it. So don't give me that shit, not necessarily. Unless they're getting paid illegally under the counter.
I'll just say not necessarily, because you don't necessarily need to show the ID that they're talking about. You can show your birth certificate, which I don't think
Yes,
you're
a birth
bringing.
certificate would be able to use for the voter for the Save America Act. You can use birth certificates, you can use driver's license, you can use passports. So what's the problem? If you don't have any of that shit, then you're just a full-blown retard that probably doesn't even deserve to vote in the first place. Like,
Again,
why is
yeah,
it so hard? Even if you want to make the excuse, okay, I'll go ahead and agree with your argument. Even if you want to say, okay, let's make IDs free, okay, let's make them free. It's not going to cost a whole bunch of money, but
You
there's
know
already
what?
states that give IDs for free. There's already states that give IDs for free. So if you want to just give IDs for free for everyone, okay, then let's do it. But then what's your excuse from there? What's your excuse
I
from
don't have an
there?
excuse.
And
I
by the
don't have
way,
an
if
excuse in there.
okay, okay, so then
Actually,
there's nothing to say.
I would
So
fully. Hey, I would fully be on board if the Save America Act made it so that every person in America got an ID for free delivered to their home. I would be a
but
huge
that's going to
fan
cost
of
hundreds
voter
of
ID.
billions. That's going to cost hundreds of millions of
You
dollars,
just
likely.
told me that it wouldn't cost that much
I was
money.
being sarcastic. Of course, it's going to cost a lot of money. To print
And I
300
don't-
million IDs, even if it costs $1 for each one, it's going to cost $300 million.
And honestly,
as
I
an
don't care.
And if you're an adult, you're responsible for yourself. The government isn't. I mean, when you're born, they give you an ID for free. The hospital gives you your birth certificate. So if your dumbass mama lost your birth certificate, that's on you. Pay for a new one.
And I mean, countries in Europe do it. And
Okay.
honestly, I don't think it's going to cost
We
$1
give
for
free
ID.
ID. We give free IDs already. It's called your birth certificate. Where the fuck did these
How about
people's
this?
birth certificates go?
How about this? I think we're both agreeing that voter ID would be okay if everyone got a form of ID.
No, I'm not for
Can we
that
not-
because I know some of these retards are going to lose their IDs 3 or 4 times, and then they're just going to keep making the government pay for it. Fuck that. Fuck that. As someone that's lost their license once or twice, I'm not for that bullshit. No, I don't want to pay for people's mistakes of losing their ID over and over and over again. The self-accountability falls on them. The self-accountability falls on them. They were already given one free ID already from the government. If they lost that, they're probably going to lose the other one. So why the fuck are we just going to keep printing them free IDs? Pay for your own driver's license. Pay for your own IDs.
Okay, the state that I'm from already has voter ID laws on the book, and I'm fine with them because they give you a free form of voter identification.
Okay, everyone was given a free form of voter identification. It just depends if you lost it or not.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I would be fine.
And voter ID is even free in many, many places like Alabama. I mean, it's already free in the majority of the country. And let the states decide on that. If the states want to budget that into their budget, let them do it. But don't force the taxpayers to pay for someone else's negligence.
Look, if voter fraud is such an issue that we need to take lots of action against it, then I think that another good action to take, if you want voter ID to be a thing, and you think that people will either lose their license or need money to replace it, is fine. Give them like a paper ID that they can use to vote, and we'll be good.
They were given that already. It's called a birth certificate.
You want people to bring their birth certificates to go to vote?
Yes, if that's the only thing they have, I'd rather just them bring the birth certificate than the taxpayer pay $20 for a new ID for them.
The tax, but it doesn't have to be laminated.
Okay, if it's a piece of paper, then how the fuck do we even know if it's real if it's not laminated with all the safety checks on the IDs? How do we know they're not just printing someone else's IDs off the internet? Like you're talking about just print it out.
So we're like doing back and back and back. I said I'd support the SAVE Act if it included provision allowing Americans to get free IDs. I think that's a reasonable position. And then you're saying that would cost so much money. And I say, no, it doesn't cost that much money.
How many times do we have to give them IDs? Are we going to give them one ID? Or are we going to give them unlimited amounts of IDs that they want? Or are we just going to let them,
When you register to vote, they send you an ID in the mail.
Okay, what if you lose that? Should they send you another one?
I mean, you can re-register to vote. So the
government should just give unlimited amount of IDs then for free.
I'm saying state governments already do it.
and it
They
doesn't
already
cost that
give you
much
a
money.
they give you a social security number, a social security number, and a social security card and a birth certificate when you're born. I mean, come
Okay,
on.
again, this
That's
was
fine.
this
A
is
one-time voter ID. You want a one-time voter ID? I think we already give a one-time voter ID. But if you want a one-time voter ID when you register the vote, okay, sure.
yeah. Okay, there we go. Look at that
So
bipartisan work.
why did the Democrats oppose it altogether? They're not even trying to add that into it. They're just opposing the entire bill together. They're not trying to edit it or
Because
add anything to it.
because
They just blatantly
Republicans
oppose it.
because Republicans like you have already gone through literally like a 20-minute fight about this.
About what? If they haven't even tried they haven't even tried to ask for free IDs. They just say no, we don't want voter security.
Because voter security isn't an issue.
It is. There were 67 illegal alien immigrants caught registered on the voting ballot in New Jersey. So obviously there's something going on here. If there's fraud here, maybe there should be a federal investigation to all 50 states.
How many registered voters are there in New Jersey?
A lot, but there should be no illegal alien immigrants registered at all. If there's 6,700 registered, that tells you they're not doing their job.
You said 6,700?
Yes, 6,700 illegal alien immigrants registered, and all of a sudden they make a lie up saying that it was an accident or it was a software error. How the fuck is that a software error? How did you even know these illegal alien immigrants existed if they're not even documented? How would that be a software error?
Okay. So,
and they just make excuse after excuse after excuse. I don't want to hear any excuses. I just want secure elections. And not to mention, we have another problem that's almost even bigger than voter ID. We're allowing illegal alien immigrants to be counted in our censuses. That's giving tons of electoral college points.
Okay, per the Jersey Vindicator. Per the Jersey Vindicator, local source, only about 400 illegal immigrants cast ballots in the state of New Jersey, and I don't really care. I don't think it's an issue.
So Governor Mike Sherrill, that's what they know about. That's what they discovered out of the 6,700. They discovered 450 of them.
6,600 people who identified themselves as non-citizens while obtaining driver's license or identification cards were registered to vote, and roughly about 400 of them cast ballots.
Okay, so do you not think there's a problem in the election system?
No, because let's go back to this voter ID claim. Even if we had voter IDs, that doesn't solve it. They were identified as non.
I'm not saying that it would solve it, but it would definitely make it a little bit more secure.
No, it wouldn't, because the reason those 6,600 people were registered to vote in the first place is they obtained identification cards.
So we're exactly. So voter ID, part of getting an ID, a part of the I could be wrong about this, it should be, if it's not, making sure that illegal alien immigrants can't get ID cards because they shouldn't be allowed to. They shouldn't be able to get driver's license. That's literally a whole nother thing with the fraud. That's why we want real ID, because real ID, you have to verify your citizenship. So that's part of the Save America Act. You have to get real ID. So you have to verify your social security number and your citizenship to obtain the real ID. So no, illegal alien immigrants shouldn't be getting identifications or driver's license. Like, we already had multiple truck drivers last year kill people. They were illegal alien immigrants.
Two key things. First and foremost, these 6,600 people identified as non-citizens all obtained driver's license and were therefore registered to vote.
It's not like they shouldn't be able to drive. They should not be able to get a driver's license. That's why we want to pass real voter ID.
So, secondly, across the country, many states give non-citizens social security numbers.
Okay, so then you admit that illegal alien immigrants are pulling fucking welfare too. We should not allow that to happen. We should deport all these fuckers out of our country. That's why they cost us over $150 billion a year, because we just allow this bullshit to happen and we're incentivizing these fucking criminal bastards to come into our country.
First and foremost, not necessarily, and secondarily, again, we've gone fucking far off track. If we're talking about the SAVE Act and talking about how this voter ID system is supposedly going to fix non-citizens voting.
It is, because it's not going to allow illegal alien criminals to get driver's license or any ID. And if they do get the ID, it's not going to be the real ID, so they're not going to be able to vote with it.
Again, in the state of New Jersey, these so-called illegal alien immigrants were allowed to obtain IDs.
Yes, we shouldn't be allowing that. That's why we're trying to... You understand what I'm saying? When we pass the Save America Act, you're going to have some form of real ID. So if you have a driver's license and it does not have the star on the corner of it that says real ID or whatever it is in your state, then you're not going to be able to vote. That's your understanding. You're literally explaining why we need this. You're basically telling me why we need the Save America Act, and I'm agreeing with you.
The reason they were registered to vote is because they were given a real form of ID.
They weren't. They were giving a driver's license. Do you know the difference between a regular driver's license and the new real IDs?
They have a little star in the corner.
Yes, and how do you get the star? You have to verify your identity, and they have to make sure you're a citizen.
When I went to get my ID, they just kind of gave me the star.
Yes, because they have your social security number in the system already. They don't have to ask you any questions. They already can see that you're a citizen because they can check your status with that.
Sure, I'm just saying the 6600 number, first and foremost, is not a big issue because only about 400 of them.
It is a big issue. There should be zero voter fraud in our system, or close to zero.
How much voter fraud is acceptable?
None. Not with modern day technology.
Not with modern day technology. Zero voter fraud is acceptable with modern day technology.
If they're claiming that they're counting all these votes by hand, then how the fuck is there fraud even going on? They told the governor of New Jersey literally told us that no illegal alien immigrants voted. That was literally out of his fucking mouth. And now all of a sudden we find...
Mikey Sherrill said 400 people voted and none of their votes were counted.
Who's Mikey Sherrill, the new governor?
The governor of New Jersey.
I'm talking about the previous governor.
I don't care what the previous governor said. I care what the governor of New Jersey said.
Yes, he was the governor of New Jersey. And when Trump said that there's fraud going on in New Jersey, he said there's no illegal alien immigrants voting here. So he lied.
Again.
More covering up for voter fraud by the Democrat Party.
I don't see
you just told me before. You told me before 500 of them voted out of the 6,700, which was about the same numbers I found.
I said 400 cast ballots. Casting a ballot doesn't mean that your vote is counted.
But it was counted.
Where does it say that?
Where does it not say that? Where does it say they weren't counted?
If it says cast ballots and not voted, then we know.
What is voting? What is voting? When you cast a ballot, that's voting. It's the same thing. What is the difference? What the fuck is the difference between casting a ballot and voting? When I go to the voting booth, they give me a ballot. They say, here's your ballot. Fill it out. Who do you want to vote for?
When I go to the voter booth and I put my ballot in, I've casted a ballot. When they go back and count it later,
they didn't count it. They're discovering it just now. This was from a previous election. They're just discovering it now. So obviously, if they're just discovering it now and not during the election, it probably counted. Is that fair enough to say?
Okay.
I mean, shit, if they discovered it right during the election, I would give you the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, they didn't count it because they discovered it. But they're just discovering this years later. Actually,
no, they didn't discover it years later. The article literally says that it was between June of 2023 and June of 2024.
So
and that Endemia, the company that had the software error.
So 3 years later, this was for the 2020 election, correct? Or what election was this?
This is for the 2024 election. First off,
we didn't even start casting ballots. You couldn't vote in 2023 for the 2024 election. What are you talking about? You could start voting in November of 2024, not in 2023.
There were elections in 2023.
This was for the presidential election, was it not?
I don't see anything specifically that says that it was for the presidential election. Just
Okay, well, governors don't do elections in the middle of the summertime either. So what the fuck are you even talking about? What governor race does elections in June?
I'm not saying that they had elections in June, but if you go from
They don't
June
even
of
cast
2020
ballots. They don't even vote in June. There's nothing that occurs as far as election cycles in June. It's either all in November or,
Okay.
in January.
from June of
sometimes, rarely.
2023 to June of 2024 is November in the middle of that.
Okay, so if it's in the middle of it, that means they discovered it before. Because it says 2023 to 2024. That means they discovered it before the election even started. Is that what you're saying? Even before they started casting ballots? The numbers aren't adding up. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. No, the numbers add up.
The dates aren't adding up.
November of 2023, is that a date?
Okay, tell me when the election was. Just tell me when the election was.
There was an election in November of 2023.
Okay, so how did they find fraud in June of 2023 then?
They found fraud. They found these people were registered between June of 2023
but
and
you
June
said
of
they
2024.
counted casting ballots. You can't cast ballots unless there's an election.
Do you understand what
the election?
between means?
There is no election. You said they got caught casting ballots. So if there's no election, then do you understand that? They can't cast a ballot in June.
They cast ballots in the November of 2023 election.
So how did they get caught in June? How did they get caught in June?
In June of 2024?
Yeah, how did they get caught 4 months before the election? If they were even casting ballots.
Well, let's see. They got caught. I don't know.
The dates aren't matching up, and if you can't figure that out,
6 months
I don't know what to tell you.
They got caught 6 months after an election.
But you said it happened in June 2023. And then they got caught 6 months. So how were they casting ballots in June 2023?
In November of 2023 is when they cast ballots.
And also you just said they caught them after the election, meaning they didn't stop them during the election and the votes were counted and the ballots were counted. So you're just proving my point again.
I'm willing to concede 400 illegal votes were counted in the November of 2023 elections. Because Endemia, a software company, fucked up.
Oh, a software company fucked up. There's no responsibility for all the people that are supposed to be checking that shit.
The software company is literally the people they hired to check it.
Well, then maybe they should think about checking another shit.
Sure, they did.
Isn't there supposed to be a manual count? Aren't the votes supposed to be signed and they're supposed to manually review over the signatures and the votes?
Yeah, and they did, and these people were registered to vote by Endemia.
And they didn't see that the registry was obviously not of a citizen? Or you're just pointing out more and more fraud to me?
So you're telling me that when they look at the voter rolls, which is what they do, they wouldn't find these 6,600 people, and the 400 of which actually went and casted a vote, because you have to be a U.S. citizen to be on the voter registry. So is it not accurate to say that somebody, like, say, a voter counter in the November 2023 election in New Jersey would be fine and good to have looked up these people's name and been like, oh, they're on the voter registry? How is that fraud?
They should have done something. I don't know what to tell you.
What were they supposed to do? A software company fucked up in 2020.
Not allow illegal alien immigrants to get ID? That's why we want to pass the Save America Act. That way only real ID counts, because you fuckers out there are giving these motherfuckers driver's license and then they're driving trucks and killing people. Like, how much clearer do I gotta be?
How many people have illegal aliens killed?
At least a dozen in the last 2 years from driving accidents, and every single crime committed by them.
6 people a year. 6 people a year.
Those illegal alien immigrants shouldn't be here at all. Do you disagree?
Yeah, not necessarily. I think that certain illegal immigrants should be here.
Why? They're criminals. The first thing they did was jump over the border. We need mass deportations. They cost us over $150 billion a year. Why the fuck do we want them to stay? They're literally low education, low IQ criminals.
Because they contribute to our economy.
Americans need jobs. There is more unemployed Americans than there are jobs. Why the fuck would we give them to illegal alien immigrants?
So in unemployment is at its low at one of its lowest numbers ever, below what we should
I
have.
agree, but there is still more. There are still more people that are unemployed than there are available jobs. Meaning, we should kick out millions of these illegal alien immigrants out of their jobs. That way, American citizens can get an opportunity. Especially if you care about the middle class, it's undeniable that illegal alien immigrants lower wages. And having a labor shortage would actually increase wages.
Okay, what jobs are these illegal aliens taking that middle class Americans would be taking? If
construction, that's a major one. Construction.
We're in a construction shortage right now. If anything, we need more workers.
Exactly. We need more American workers, not illegal alien immigrant workers. They gotta go.
But the issue isn't these. The issue is that Americans aren't taking.
If we're in a labor shortage, for construction, then let's deport even more of them and make the labor shortage even more, so we can raise the salaries. Where are all the homeless working at? What about the homeless? Shouldn't we prioritize our homeless and our veterans before we let illegal alien immigrants come into this country?
A lot of them are drug addicts, and I don't think you want drug addicts building houses.
Yeah, a lot of illegal alien immigrants are drug addicts, and 100% of them are criminals. What's your point? Do you think you want criminals building houses? It's a problem with drug addicts do it, but it's fine if criminals build. If you just beat someone or came in illegally or physically harmed someone, that's perfectly fine. But, you know.
Yeah, if you got in through the asylum system and didn't go in front of a judge, I think I'm fine with you building me a house. I don't think I really care.
What do you mean? If you got in through the asylum process, that means you're here legally.
Yeah, but the issue with illegal immigration is the asylum process. It's not.
No, the asylum process is less than 25% of the illegals in this country.
You're telling me 75% of them are just hopping the Rio Grande?
Yes. Millions of people have poured through that border. Millions. We saw, some estimates say, like, if there's 30,000 people a day that went through the border under Biden, even if we say there was 5 or 10,000 a day, that's 300,000 illegal alien immigrants a month. Yes, millions have came through the border.
You're telling me that Joe Biden just kind of like opened up the gate and let people walk on through?
He quite literally bulldozed over the Texas border. You can look up the video. He quite literally bulldozed a section of the Texas border, and they. I would say I think they said it was like 30,000 went through that day, but I think it looked like 150,000 to me. I saw the drone footage. It looked a lot bigger than 30,000 people.
And these people just walked in. Border Patrol was just like not there.
They weren't. Why do you think there's a record amount of border crossings? Because the border wasn't as militarized as it is now.
Because post-COVID, people came back.
And by the way, asylum seekers, that's a ridiculous argument because 60% of asylum seekers get turned away anyway. And allowing our country for asylum is a horrible fucking option. We do have to offer asylum due to like international laws or some shit, but we have a new program going on by Stephen Miller where we send these illegal alien fuckers to another country that's not America. That's our new asylum program. I agree with that. We're not just going to let poor retards come into our country because they say there's gang violence.
Okay. So, I don't even know where to start.
I'm going to pull up how many exactly of the... Okay, it says, there's way more visa overstays than there are people in asylum. Way more.
Dude, you realize
visa overstays should be deported. Visa overstays are 40% of them. They should be deported.
Yeah, people overstaying their visa when they come in and say, "Hey, guys, I want asylum. And then
they didn't apply for asylum. They came on a work visa. They didn't come on an asylum visa. You don't just get to apply for asylum because you come from a poor country. That's not a recognized thing from international law to apply for asylum.
You know what? I agree. That's true. But most of these people, they come in, they apply for asylum. The United States is like, well, shit, we can't send them back because they're applying for asylum and clearly like fear for harm.
We can. We have a new process right now. It's called Remain in Mexico. We had this back in 2016. You remain in Mexico until you either get confirmed or denied for your asylum. And 65% of them are getting turned away and sent back.
Yeah,
Because they
and that
have
makes
illegitimate claims. Because they have illegitimate claims because they just want to come to America for a better life.
so between 2008 and 2019, 83% of migrants stopped at the border were here to make asylum claims.
Okay, and 65% of them try to cheat the system.
Yeah, I agree.
So what's your
I-
point? They still have to go back to their country. And
Yeah,
by the
okay.
way, if you're coming from Mexico or South America, why the fuck don't you just go to another safer country? I've been
Here's
to
the thing.
Central America. There's plenty of places these people can go to.
Yeah, they could go to Argentina. They could go to fucking Chile.
Exactly. We already agreed then. I'm an immigrant myself. I've lived in 3 other countries. I don't think it's acceptable because when I moved to these countries, I was poor. So if I can do it when I was poor, why the fuck can't they do it?
You're not going to find a lot of disagreement here about we need changes to our system for illegal immigration. I don't think we're going to have a lot of disagreements here.
The only thing I would change in the visa system is I would allow people to, I would get the citizenship done in 5 years instead of 10 or 20 years because of the waiting line. But I would also fix that by deporting all these illegal alien immigrants and all these quote unquote asylum seekers. I would speed up the process and just be like, no, like 80% of you got to go. 65 probably isn't even enough. If you're coming from Mexico, you should not, I don't know if you do, but you should not qualify for asylum. I know people that live in Mexico. It's not like living in Russia right now with the war, or like living in Ukraine with the war right now. It's not like living in Gaza, even though luckily we declined the fucking Palestinians from coming in. Hallelujah. But it's not even comparable. Mexico is not as crazy as they make it out to be. Certain cities are definitely ran by the cartel and gangs. I'm not denying that. It's 100% true.
Mexico,
The crime rates are higher, but I wouldn't qualify that country as asylum-seeking material.
Mexico City, obviously a wonderful place. Beautiful, beautiful.
Exactly. So why the fuck do they need to flee to America? And Mexicans can come here easier than like almost anyone else. We have the NAFTA agreement, the North America Trade Agreement, which gives them a lot of access to many visa programs and expedited processes.
Yeah. I mean, partially the issue with Mexico is cartel violence, which the new president doesn't seem to really want to do a lot about, but neither here nor there. More importantly, I don't think we have a lot of disagreements on we need to deport certain undocumented peoples. But I do think
every single one of them.
I think that some of them should be allowed to stay because they strengthen the economy, the United States.
If they strengthen the economy, then why can't they fly back to Mexico, apply for a visa, and come back?
Because that would stop our economy for a little bit.
Okay. Those jobs need to go towards Americans. Why would it be so bad if a construction company all of a sudden started to have to hire a bunch of Americans? Because if 1/3 of their workforce leaves, they're going to have no other choice but to hire Americans for higher dollar salaries. They need to get their paid projects have to get done no matter what.
Because Americans don't want to work those jobs anymore. Because
yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. There's I know like at least 10 guys from my high school that are all in construction business today, and that's that's like 10% of my class size, if not 15% of my class size. So to say that people don't want to work construction is just wrong.
Hey,
you're trying to say white people or Americans are too lazy. If Americans are too lazy, if they really are too lazy, then let them starve until they change their mind.
2 of my best friends work construction. I'm not going to disagree with you that people like construction work. What they like, though, is high-paying union construction work. And in the 70s and 80s and 90s, corporations lowered protections and got rid of a lot of union-based jobs, which allowed these...
I'm giving you a solution to get union-type salaries right here. I'm literally offering you a solution. If you want a comparable salary to what union offers, or if you want, more workers' rights, then you're going to have to shift the power from the corporation to the workers. And the only way to shift the power fairly from the workers to the corporation is point out the federal laws that are being broken, which is the illegal alien immigrants coming in. We need to punish the corporations more, but I think there already is like a $250,000 fine, and I think I could be wrong, but even a potential jail sentence depends on what you're doing with these illegal alien immigrants. But we need to harsher down on those even more. But even if we did harsher down on them, these illegal alien immigrants are still going to find work. So we gotta solve problems on both ends. We gotta crack down on the companies, and we also gotta do mass deportation at the same time.
So the reason that a lot of these immigrants started to fulfill these construction jobs is exactly because they got rid of the unions. They cracked down on unions. They lowered the wages.
Unions will hire illegals. You're telling me a union wouldn't hire an illegal?
I'm
sure
telling
it's happened
you
once or twice.
Sure, it's happened once or twice. Unions hire illegals. I don't, but but union salaries.
There's already unions. Okay, if you want to work in a union, that's fine. Go to New York or go to one of the blue states that has a bunch of unions in it. That's perfectly fine. There's plenty of unions out there. I have a friend that does welding, and he does welding. So yeah, and he makes really great money. He makes 6 figures in a union. So.
Yeah, welding jobs make a lot of money.
You don't have to make every single construction job union. I think that's too much. Not everyone wants to pay union dues. Not everyone wants to pay the union dues.
Yeah, but the reason that they have these high salaries, the reason your friend's making 6 figures is because there's a union backing him.
I agree, but it shouldn't be forced. It shouldn't be mandated. And it's a simple solution to raise prices for raise salaries for non-union construction companies. Just deport 1/3 of their workforce.
But they aren't going to raise salaries if they aren't going to raise salaries.
They are. If what you're saying is true, where people don't want to work construction, the only way they can incentivize that is to give better salaries.
The reason that they have higher salaries.
It's supply and demand. Why do you think CEOs get paid so much money? Because there's not a bunch of CEOs walking around. There are a select few of people that have an actual resume that can qualify to be a CEO of a major company.
CEOs make a lot of money because they're at the top of a chain of a company. What I'm talking about.
That's also part of the reason, but their job is in demand. Their job is a huge part of the demand. The more demand there is, the higher the salaries are going. Are you denying that? Are you denying that supply and demand drives wages?
I'm saying that in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of demand for construction workers. They artificially drive down salaries because they want to pay people less.
We're not arguing about unions. Yeah, they do want to pay people less. That's why we shouldn't allow illegal alien immigrants to get paid under the counter and drive down salaries.
I'm saying that the reason that that undocumented immigrants are now getting paid money to do these jobs is because these companies drove out the unions, artificially lowered prices, and forced American workers out. If you want to stop undocumented immigrants coming over for work, the first solution is to get unions back into the workplace and allow American workers to be making higher wages like they did in the 80s and 90s.
Unions are in the workplaces. There's plenty of unions all around the country. Some states don't want unions, so they don't form unions.
What you're talking about is a workers' co-op.
What do you mean what I'm talking about is a workers' co-op? What workers' co-op?
What you're saying is that a group of people own the company that they work at and get paid a lot of money.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I don't want ownership to be a part of it all. All I'm saying is increase the supply, increase the demand, not the supply of workers. Increase the demand for workers, not the supply. And this guy says I'm arguing against my own interest. How am I arguing against my own interest? I'm trying to tell these people I don't even work in construction, so this has nothing to do with my interest. And besides that, deporting illegals is undoubtedly going to cause wages to go up. Are you disagreeing with that? Are you refusing?
The reason that there is a lot of immigration to the United States is because there are jobs that Americans don't want to fulfill because they require.
That's not true. No, illegals don't come to America because there's jobs that Americans don't want to fulfill. They come to America for a better life. They have no clue about the job market until they even get here. And explain California then. They were the most illegals there, and they are working union jobs like construction.
Yeah, they should be.
And they're getting paid under the counter.
If you want to pay an immigrant $4.25 an hour to work construction, I don't want an American citizen working that job.
Oh, so you are literally advocating to pay people under federal minimum wage. So you're not an advocate for federal minimum wage then. You want to pay people $4 an hour. You want to enslave them. $4 an hour is fucking modern day slavery.
I agree. That's why I don't want Americans working those jobs.
That's the thing, though. If we get rid of these illegal alien immigrants, the salaries will go up. And no one working construction is getting paid $4 an hour. Construction is not a low-paying job.
When they're getting paid under the table and they're forced to accept any wage.
Exactly. I'm on the same point as you. That's why we shouldn't let them work. That's the whole point. That's why our country invented work visas and work authorization, that to make sure this kind of stuff doesn't happen. Mistreatment of workers, underpayment, probably sometimes not even receiving any payment. I mean, what is an illegal alien immigrant going to do if a farmer says, "Oh, I'm going to pay you at the end of the month," and he does a month's work and he doesn't get paid? What is he going to do? Sue him? He can't sue him. He's going to get deported. So this is completely against workers' rights altogether. If you are advocating for unions, you should be advocating for mass deportation of illegal alien immigrants too, because they are hurting the workplace.
Partially, I think that there should be a lot of deportations. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that certain people should be allowed to stay.
Like who should be allowed to stay? Give me an
people
example.
Who I think that the only people that the United States of America, should be deporting are violent or non-violent criminals.
Non-violent criminals. I agree. Violent or non-violent criminals.
What I'm talking about when I say non-violent criminals are people who have committed offenses like fraud, or like money laundering. These are non-violent offenses.
Okay. What about what about like a car? What about like I can name things that are not fraud. What about like breaking? What about robbing or stealing? Or what about stealing?
Those are violent crimes.
Stealing is not a violent crime. Robbing.
Stealing.
Stealing.
Stealing implies the use of force in order to take something.
No, it doesn't. Robbery is force. Stealing is implying that you just steal something without someone looking. Robbery is with force.
I would say that, yeah, deport those people.
And if the first thing they do is break the law, why shouldn't we deport them right away?
The first thing they do is commit a civil offense, which is entering the country.
It's not a civil offense. It's a federal misdemeanor. It's not a civil infraction. Yeah. It's not a civil offense. A misdemeanor is not a civil offense. A civil offense is a speeding ticket. A civil offense is a speeding ticket. A misdemeanor is a crime that's punishable up to, I think, 2 to 5 years in prison. Or at least up to 2 years in prison. So you're telling me we should not enforce misdemeanors?
No. I'm saying that certain people who came to the country undocumented should be allowed to stay. Just because you came to the country undocumented doesn't mean that you're not hardworking. Doesn't mean that you're not working. I don't care
if you're hardworking. It just means you shouldn't be here at all. Plenty of Americans are hardworking.
Yeah. And those hardworking Americans make hardworking American wages.
Okay, so you want to prioritize the illegal alien immigrants then? Because if we don't deport the people that just jump over the border, that's going to incentivize other people to jump over the border. Would you agree?
First and foremost, I don't think anyone's jumping over the border. I think that's a fantasy. Second,
I have video footage. You want me to play some
video
footage?
I don't care.
So
I don't care if you have
evidence. You're just denying what you see with your own eyes. There are people jumping over the border. That's undeniable. I can give you the border crossings under Biden. There is at least 7 million border crossings under Biden.
Is every border cross?
That's according to the Heritage Foundation. The numbers are much higher.
Okay, pause. Heritage Foundation is a right-wing.
It's not right-wing. They worked with Barack Obama and they worked with previous Democrat presidents. Are they more right-leaning? Sure, but they've worked with plenty of Democrats before. They're kind of a nonpartisan organization. But go ahead and spew your bullshit.
Well, okay.
And if you want me to give you a left-leaning source, I can. How many illegals crossed during Biden southern border? I mean, it's going to at least be a few million, even from the most left-leaning articles.
First and foremost, I don't think crossing necessarily says.
According to CBP, there is 8 million encounters along the border.
Yeah,
that's encounters. That means people trying to jump over the border that got turned away.
No, that doesn't. An encounter means that, like I told you earlier, 83%.
So what? They were on the Mexican side and they encountered them? They were just waving from the border and they were counting them? Is that what you think it means?
No, dude. 83% of these people who they are encountering say that they want asylum and then they're granted asylum, then they come into the country.
No,
and
they don't
they're
file
okay.
for asylum. You can't. You know the process to file for asylum is you have to file in Mexico. You can't jump over the fucking border and file for
Under
asylum.
remain in Mexico, which wasn't a thing under the Biden administration.
You always had to apply. You can't just come into the country illegally
There's an app
and
that
apply
you can
for
use.
asylum. What's the bill? What's the act called?
What's the app called?
No, what is it called? The act.
I don't know. You want me to name like the specific U.S. statutes on asylum claims?
No, you're telling me that people could just jump over the border under Biden.
I'm not telling you that people could jump over the border. I say they go to crossing points, particular places that border security has designated for people to go and claim asylum or get into the country, and then they claim asylum, and the United States has a policy of not turning people away who claim asylum. So under the Biden administration, which didn't have to remain in Mexico, which ultimately isn't a great policy because we aren't investing in those border towns and they're more dangerous, getting more dangerous by the day, we let them into the United States.
We didn't. Title 42, which is something I'm pretty sure Biden passed. Title
42 was a COVID-era legislation.
Okay, Title 42 says anyone that jumps over the border is automatically ineligible to qualify for asylum, and they are going to be deported.
So Title 42 is a part of the provisions that the United States has in the event of a pandemic.
Okay, was the pandemic not the entire time? So for 3 years, we didn't let anyone come. Oh yeah, 2024, suspended asylum processing between ports of entry. Okay, so
yeah,
for what?
Agree.
The last couple months, for the majority of the time, the last couple months you could just come in. But for almost 4 years, you'd be turned away at the border or deported. You can't file for asylum and just break into the country illegally. It doesn't matter if we have remain in Mexico or not. There is Title 42 as well.
So the legislation that I advocate for, which I believe would solve the majority of the illegal immigration in the country.
We're not giving mass amnesty. Ronald Reagan said that was his biggest life regret.
I didn't say mass amnesty. You can't just jump the statement, bro. I advocate for the Langford bill, which was presented by a Republican in the Senate, Langford, which would have increased border funding, would have increased border security, would have allotted for more immigration judges. That way we could kick out people who claim asylum illegitimately faster, and therefore have a better, more secure border.
Well, we don't need to kick people out faster. We just need to deport anyone in here that's illegal.
What do you think kick people out faster?
No, we don't. We're not going to bring them through a court process. We're not going to let them go to court to fight about asylum. They got to get deported right away.
You know what happens when you don't do a court process? What happens is what's happening right now in America.
We have the Alien Enemies Act. We have the Alien Enemies Act. We have the Expedited Removal Act. There's multiple laws.
What is the Alien Enemies Act?
Anyone from you don't know what the Alien Enemies Act is? Is this like a legitimate question?
No, I know what the Alien Enemies Act is. Tell me what you think the Alien Enemies Act means.
Congress has said it can be used as it's been using. No one.
The Alien Enemies Act. What the Alien Enemies Act does is allow us to deport foreign invaders.
Anyone that comes in illegally is a foreign invader. This has been done in Supreme Court. They already said the way Trump is using it. They ruled that Trump can use it the way he's using it.
The Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump could deport Venezuelans exclusively because
not just Venezuelans. There's other organizations as well. MS-13, a bunch of others, Mexicans, bunch of other criminals. But yes, there are some restrictions. There are some
organization that's invading the United States.
Huh? Well, MS-13. Okay, fine. MS-13, was started in El Salvador, but it's also in Mexico. And there's multiple cartels.
So what the Supreme Court? That it
can be used like Trump is using it. That's what they said. They said
Supreme Court decided
no
the
wrong,
Alien Enemies Act
and they can keep using it. Okay, what about Expedited Removal Act? Are you familiar with that one?
the Expedited Removal Act allows them to get, allows them to get in front of a judge quicker, so that way we can order a deportation.
It means they're deported without any judge, no court hearing, nothing, instantly deported. Passed by Bill Clinton, which is a Democrat, by the way. Anyone found within 200 miles of the border can automatically be deported. No court hearing, no due process, none of that. Adios. The due process is, where's your ID? Where's your passport? What's your social security number? Then adios. That's the process they get.
Hey, you know what? I agree with the Expedited Removal Act. I think it's a perfectly fine policy. If you're from within 200 miles of the border and you're crossing illegally, perfect. Kick them out. What I've already told you is I advocate for the Langford bill, which Donald Trump blocked in the Senate because he thought it would make it for a better election issue, which would have expedited removal for these people by getting them in front of immigration judges sooner.
They shouldn't even be in front of an immigration judge. They're here illegally. They should be deported. They should go in front of an immigration judge, but not in front of an asylum judge. They shouldn't be able to file their asylum. They can go in front of a regular immigration judge, present your papers, and get deported. We don't want to expedite the fucking asylum process for these people that already came here illegally. If you came here illegally, you should be deported. I don't care if your asylum seeking is legitimate or not. You broke into the country and you broke the federal laws.
The reason that undocumented people need to go in front of a judge before they're deported is that way we don't deport American citizens by accident.
Okay, which has happened pretty much under every single president.
I don't care if it's happened under every single president. We should be expediting removal via an immigration judge.
But it's actually never happened under Trump, other than one guy that literally just refused to present his social security number, his name, or his ID.
Yeah, you don't legally have to do that.
Yes, you do. If you're pulled over in a traffic stop in all 50 states, you have to present a form of identification. Otherwise, it's a misdemeanor charge. So you're wrong again.
In all 50 states, you have to present. If you're
stopped in a traffic stop, you have to present identification.
Yeah, if you are being cited for a offense.
No, not even for offense. If they pull you over and say, the first thing they ask you is, can I have your ID? If you say no, that's a misdemeanor charge. If you keep denying them over and over again, that's a misdemeanor criminal offense in all 50 states. They don't even have to say you're speeding. If they just pull you over and ask you for your ID, there doesn't have to be probable cause. There doesn't have to be any of that shit. All they have to do is say, "Can I get your ID?" That's it.
So if they
catch you on foot, yeah, they will have to have a probable cause for traffic stop. So they're gonna have to say they've seen you speeding, whatever. So
yeah. So what you're telling me is that you don't have to have probable cause to ask for an ID at a traffic stop.
You don't have to have a crime.
Yeah, when you are stopped for probable cause, that means that they believe or suspect that you have committed a crime. That's what probable cause is.
Okay, so fine, fair enough. I was a little bit wrong on that. That came out a little bit too fast. But either way, the guy broke the law.
Yeah. I don't think you should be deported for not showing a form of ID. And even then, the New York Magazine has published a 8-page article discussing, I believe, about 16 people who have all been deported because Trump literally refuses to, Trump has been expediting immigration too fast. We can't just deport them immediately because we need them in front of a judge. That way we can make sure that the legal process is going.
You agreed with expedited removal, though. You just said you agreed with expedited removal, which means you believe in some form or another that these people can be removed without going to a court hearing.
Yeah, within 200 miles of the border if they're found to be undocumented.
Okay, what is the difference? The Alien Enemies Act can be 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles.
Again, I don't agree with how the Alien Enemies Act is being used. What I do think is that we should have people go in front of a judge. If the judge decides that they're illegal, fine, deport them. Who cares?
But you said you don't want to deport people that are in our workforce. So which is
I don't want. How about this? Okay. So what the Langford Act would have also done is give a
the Langford Act would allow. Go ahead. Sorry.
The Langford bill would have allowed people to have an expedited process to get U.S. citizenship if we can prove that they haven't committed any crimes. and allow them to have their U.S. citizenships. That way, we don't have to deport an undocumented person. There's documented.
We're not going
now.
to hand out U.S. citizens like pieces of candy. Every other country, it takes 5 to 10 years. We're not going to give these people fucking citizenship for coming here illegally.
What other policies do you want to copy from other countries?
Not to mention the Langford bill was an entire shit show. So here's another reason why someone would not vote for the Langford bill, because it included over $120 billion of foreign aid for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan.
I agree. The first draft of the Langford bill included that.
No, there was no second drafted Langford bill. That's in it. That was in it. No, that was in it the entire time. And it also allowed 5,000 people a week to pass through daily.
Before they shut down the border.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. The border should be shut down always. Other than the legal ports of entry.
How many people can come into the United States before we shut down the border right now? The answer is as many fucking as can fit through the fucking border. As many people as can come through. 5,000 is a dramatic improvement. If it averages 5,000 a week for a week. That's what we do now. Remain in Mexico is not only an executive order, so whatever president comes next can fucking rip it in half. But also, an executive order can be ripped in half by any president day one. Trump did with Biden's.
But what's your point? The point is that it would give the asylum seekers work authorization way before they even got accepted as an asylum.
The point is that right now we don't have laws
like that. You're right. We don't have laws like allowing asylum seekers work, because we shouldn't allow asylum seekers working, because 65% of them are fraudulently filing for asylum. So why would we give them work authorization? Then they could probably move into a work visa and they could stay here forever, even if their asylum gets denied. So you're acting like this Langford bill was perfect. It was filled with a bunch of shit. Like $116 billion to foreign countries, allowing asylum seekers that 65% of the time get rejected to work here. Like, this bill is not perfect at all. There's tons of criticisms of it. And sitting here like Donald J. Trump is so bad for passing it. There's a fuck ton of shit in here that's fucked. We don't need this bill. We can just close down our borders, deport all these illegals, deport 65% of the asylum seekers, and boom.
Hey. Let's just take this one step at a time. You think that Biden rescinding executive orders like remain in Mexico was a bad thing, right?
What are you going to say? That we should codify all these things? We know with the fight in the we know with the fight with the Senate and the House, it's going to be hard to codify these bills. So don't play that game and say, "Oh, we didn't codify it." Yeah, it takes like fucking 6 to 7 months, probably even longer, just to codify any of these, because no one can succeed on anything.
Dude, then the answer for you is just an infinite Republican dictatorship.
No, what the fuck kind
of
answer is that?
Because if we don't codify anything and we just let Trump rule by executive order to fix all of the immigration shit that you think is going wrong, when we don't codify anything.
Trump hasn't even passed anywhere near the most executive orders in history. There's a president
Day one, most executive orders in history.
No, not even fucking close. There's a president
Day one.
Well, day one maybe, but that's because he had
most on day one ever.
That just just shows that he's prepared. That's good. I want my president to be prepared.
I don't care if he's passed the most. I just think that when we're talking about solutions to the immigration crisis, the solution isn't Donald Trump or writing down something on a
The
fucking...
solution isn't to let people in our country that are on average a net negative. Every single
Sure.
illegal alien immigrant on average is a net negative. On average, they have
Dog, I'll grant
2.3
that.
kids. What?
I'll even grant that every single negative thing you think about illegal immigrants.
It's not
The
negative.
answer-
It's facts.
Facts can be negative. Facts can be positive.
It's not hateful or negative or what. You're trying to word it as something to be bad. It's the truth.
No, I'm not
It is
trying
the
to word it as
truth.
something that... Yeah, I'm not trying to word it as something that is bad. I can grant everything you think that's wrong with illegal immigration. What I can't grant is that executive orders are the solution, because the only way that executive orders fix the country
I never
infinitely...
said the executive orders were the solution.
Then why don't you want to codify anything?
Because it takes so long, and we're trying to codify stuff.
It should take long to codify law.
We codified stuff regarding immigration last year. So to say that we're not codifying stuff, the funding for ICE.
That's not codifying anything about immigration.
Yes, it is. That's immigration related. We codified funding for our border security. Yes, that is related.
Sure.
Our border security has been codified. I don't know what to tell you.
We can give them all the money in the world. We can give them all the funding in the world. What we would like is for laws to be fixed so that way Americans can go ahead.
I agree, but the way you're going about it is saying let all these third worlders come in here because they stimulate the billionaires and the trillionaires that
I'm not even saying that.
So much.
You know what? Fine. I'll grant. Remain in Mexico may be a fine policy. I don't think that, but sure. It helps with asylum seekers flooding in. I'll grant that. What I do think is that if it's such a great policy, that we need the U.S. Congress involved.
Okay, so maybe you can pass that.
And again, this is all a distraction to the fact that Donald Trump is making middle-class Americans' lives harder.
He's not. If you were struggling before Trump, you're still struggling now. Nothing has changed.
Again, as I've told you time and time again.
As I told you time and time before, the average family household has gone up $7,500 a month. Would you like me to Google this?
Dude, you can't do the retarded fucking
You can't do the retarded point of saying, well, the average cost increase was $3,000 based on what?
Because that's
you don't even know what it was based on. What was it based on? You didn't even read the methodology. What was it based on? What was it based on? Based on what? Based on gas? Based on groceries? Based on what? You don't even read the studies. You just read the headline and run with it.
Dude, I'll read everything that they took into account right fucking now. They take into account housing costs, which have gone up on average $695 under the Trump administration. They take into account energy costs, which means which Americans are paying on average $116 more in the Trump administration. They take into account grocery costs.
None of these are government numbers. This is a third-party organization.
Okay, it's the Senate. The Joint Economic Committee of the Senate.
It was made by one single... This article was written by one single person in the Senate. This does not represent the entire Senate's opinion. And by the way, the tax cuts that Donald J. Trump gave on average saved American families over $5,000 a year. So even if you want to say, well, GDP and salary didn't go up, we still had a tax reduction that reduced every single income class, even if you're making $35,000 a year.
Sure, I'm
glad we want to
talk about the tax cuts, particularly the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that he passed in his first administration, right?
What about it? Why are you going to go? How is that relevant to the conversation? Are we talking about this? Are we talking about 10 years ago, or are we talking about today? Because earlier in the conversation, you were telling me stuff from 10 years ago doesn't matter.
I said stuff from 2005 doesn't matter.
You said stuff from 2015 doesn't matter either. When I mentioned the Operation Stealing Reality, you said that was irrelevant.
Operation Stealing Reality was pre-JCPOA. We're not gonna re-legislate.
Okay, so what's your point? You're saying that he didn't. Are you gonna say he didn't codify his tax cuts, or what are you gonna say?
No, he did codify them.
Then what's your complaint?
He did. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act doesn't give the middle class enough of a tax break and focuses primarily on the wealthy.
It gave people making $50,000 a year a $3,000 tax cut.
Yeah, but according to the Brookings Institute in 2018, when they go through the law, they found that by 2027, it's not going to benefit middle-class
Yes, it
Americans at all.
expires because it expires.
No, because it's codified for going into the future.
No, because the middle class tax credits expire and the corporate tax rates last a little bit longer. That's why.
So what we're saying right now is that Trump isn't benefiting the middle class.
You just said it did. You literally just agreed that it's saving $5,000, $3,000 for the average person every single year in tax deductions. And if you count a family household, it's probably saving upwards of $6,000 to $10,000 a year. And that's not even including the GDP
we're just
per
making that
capita
claim.
growth.
We're just
No,
saying
we're
that.
not. No, that's the truth. You want me to pull up numbers for it? I mean, we can look at it.
Dude. Again, the fucking retarded metric that you're using to say that our income has gone up. It's just divide the GDP by the number of Americans, which isn't how it actually
per
works.
Capita. Is per capita.
And GDP
is
per capita
not the median? Is median not per capita? What does per capita mean?
Median is the middle of all American of all American incomes. Per capita is the average. They're two different things.
Okay, so the per capita has gone up.
Yeah, but the median has only gone up.
You're just saying that's from. You're saying the median hasn't gone up, and even if you want to, I'll even concede and say the median has only gone up $1,200. Okay, what about the $6,000 in tax deductions? That would make it $7,200.
The $6,000 in tax deductions has already been accounted for in the estimates that say it's going up.
It hasn't been accounted for. Show me what it's accounted for. You didn't even read the methodology. You couldn't even tell me what it accounted for with that money.
I went through literally everything it accounted for.
So once again, are you going to tell me? You didn't mention the taxes at all. Send me the article. I want you to send me this article.
I'm not sending the article because I don't have.
What is it called? Okay, just tell me. I'll look it up myself. What is it called?
New data: families have had to spend $3,500 more on everyday essentials under President Trump, from the Joint Economic Committee.
Had to spend. Hold on, I gotta find it now since you don't want to send it to me.
Yeah, because I mean it's just gonna be inconvenient for me. It's easier to just tell you the title.
Okay, I found it. Hold on. This is specifically by the Democrats. This is not a bipartisan study. And also, let's see what else I can undercover.
Dude, you cited the Heritage Foundation, authors of 2025. I think we don't have to necessarily.
I can give you border crossings that aren't the Heritage Foundation. I said I'd give you a different source if you wanted.
Yeah, but you tell me.
By the way, this was made by one specific senator, Maggie. Oh, let's see.
Maggie Hansen, ranking member of the committee.
Okay, so it was made by one Democrat in one of the committees.
They quote one person from the Joint Economic Committee, who is the ranking member. Doesn't mean she wrote it, or she wrote everything.
Okay, so who wrote this? It was strictly just done by Democrats. This isn't even a bipartisan study.
The Joint Economic Committee wrote it.
Let's see. They're going state by state, but they don't even provide any studies or sources or methodology. All they say is, here's a fact sheet. They don't tell you how they reached to that conclusion or what studies where they pulled this from. It's their own study, and they don't show the methodology behind it.
Dude, are we gonna really go through like?
Yes, I'm gonna critique this bullshit. And they also called the war with Iran illegal, which is not true because it was already authorized. No, this was done in Congress. They've already said that this is a special military operation. They authorized President Trump to do so.
The War Powers Act says that within 60 days, Congress has to.
There's been on and off pauses. We've only been at war. We've only been at conflict for maybe a total of 30 days.
Yeah, would you not say
multiple ceasefires?
would you not say that if if the same conflict pauses and goes on and on and on and on, that it's not the same conflict? Are we really playing this game?
Is the word pause. What does pause mean? That means you're not doing it anymore. That means it doesn't count towards one of the days. And if it does
Pause
count
means
towards one
break.
of the days, then why aren't they taking? Okay, then why aren't they taking the Trump to court over this and saying it's illegal? There's no one even trying to.
You don't take him to court. They literally passed. They passed a bit. They literally passed the War Powers Act, which says that he can't go to war anymore. It was joined by Representative Thomas Massey and Representative Ro Khanna.
Thomas Massey is awfully quiet now. He's not saying a single word, is he? Ro Khanna is awfully quiet, not saying a single word. Bring him back to pass another act, or bring him somewhere. Bring him to the Supreme Court.
Are you telling me that we have to do like 55 acts and 7 hours ago? Literally
okay,
7
hours.
He's
doing something. What's 7 hours? 7 hours ago.
7 hours ago, Congressman Thomas Massey's fucking Facebook page. The U.S. has been significantly weakened by the war with Iran. The administration depleted our missile defense strength.
So why isn't he doing something about it in Congress then? It's not an illegal war. Not a single person.
He passed the War Powers Act.
Wait. If there hasn't been a decision that's been voted on saying that this is illegal, then that means it's not illegal. There has to be a decision made there has to be a decision made, correct? You can't just say shit's illegal. There has to be a decision and conclusion made. You don't just get to say your feelings that you feel like it's illegal. You don't have any evidence. You don't have any supporting data.
You can, okay. I haven't been. O.J. Simpson hasn't been convicted of murder, but I think what he did was illegal.
What did he do? What are you talking about with O.J.?
He killed 2 people.
Allegedly.
I don't care if it's alleged. He allegedly committed illegal actions, and I can say he did illegal shit.
So now all of a sudden you believe guilty until proven innocent.
No, I believe that O.J. Simpson was guilty of the crime, and he was held civilly liable for it. And that members of the jury.
He was found civilly liable for something else, wasn't he?
He was found civilly liable for the murder of those 2 people.
You can't be found civilly liable for murder. You would just go to prison.
No, you can be found civilly liable for murder. You can be found civilly liable for rape.
What's the source?
Just like
he was cleared. If he was cleared in federal court, then how are you telling me?
Because civil and criminal court are 2 different things.
Yeah, to be found civilly liable, you don't have to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's only for criminal charges.
Yeah, it's the preponderance of the evidence. And also, if we, I don't know why we got into an OJ debate, but the members of the jury said that they did do nullification. They believed he was guilty, but they didn't want to vote guilty because of Rodney King.
Huh? Oh, I have multiple critiques for this. Okay, so first off, this article does not account for the fact that when some goods increased in prices, the majority of people stopped buying them, especially specific brands of coffee and stuff like that. It doesn't account for it doesn't account for any consumer habit changes whatsoever. The article you sent me, it doesn't account for any consumer behavior changes whatsoever.
Can I ask? Can I ask, is it not bad if Americans have to stop buying things in order to afford life?
I mean, what do you mean it's not bad? I can make the argument that that Americans should stop buying weed to be able to afford life. Would that be bad? Stop buying drugs?
Yeah, but is it? Yeah, but that's not like a thing that they go out and buy consistently. Is it not bad if Americans have to
buy another brand? It's not
bad.
Is it not? It's for the betterment of our country to buy American-made stuff. No, it's not bad. It drives American markets. That was the entire purpose of these tariffs, but we're not even going to get into a tariff debate.
Well, I can't get into
it. It's not bad. It's not bad to buy. It's not bad to buy American instead of another brand. And I know we don't have really any American coffee companies, so don't go at me sideways about some shit like that. I don't want to have a tariff debate.
Why don't you want to have a tariff debate?
Because the tariffs are constantly changing.
Yeah, the tariffs are failing the middle class.
They're not failing the middle class.
They're failing the middle class by driving up prices.
They're not failing telling me I'm middle class. I'm doing way better than I did last year. So where's your evidence?
I don't care. You're one example, and the Joint Economic Committee
Okay,
study
you're one
literally
example
says,
too. You're saying that you're not doing good, so you're one example. And you gave me a Democrat bill that
I'm not
even done
saying
with
that
the
I'm not doing
criticisms.
good.
You gave me a Democrat article. It was not even bipartisan. You gave me a Democrat article, and I'm not even done going through the breakthrough of it.
Dude, okay.
It does not
Two
account
things.
for changing consumer habits. It does
I don't
not
care.
account for. Okay, so then you don't care about the article being accurate at all because you're not even going to let me go through the criticisms.
It doesn't account for changes in consumer habits. Sure, they spend a little bit less on coffee than they do. Womp womp. It's $7 per pound, and now nearly $10 per pound. Raising prices on Americans is bad for the middle class, even if.
This is an estimate. I don't think coffee's $10 a pound.
Since the president took office, the average price of ground beef has risen.
Yeah, but we took the tariffs off the coffee. So what even are you talking about? And the price of ground beef has been lowered since Biden was office. So I don't believe that either.
The price of ground beef has lowered since Biden was in office.
Yes, well, I won't even compare ground beef. I'll just say steak. The price of steaks have gone down since
steak is much
Biden
less.
has left office.
Steak is much less important to the average consumer than ground beef.
Ground beef definitely has gone down since 2023 as well.
Since 2023.
Yes.
So in 2024, it was on average $5.35 a pound. In 2023, based on macro trends.
Let me look it up. Let's see.
In 2023, it was between $4.79 and $5.35. Right now, we're sitting at $6.83.
I see $6.12, and I see that Biden left it at $5.70. So we're basically following the average inflation of beef prices increasing under every
You
president.
can't, dude.
Wait. Why didn't you mention the fact that beef prices went from $3.80 to $6 under Joe Biden?
From $3.80
to $6, $5.70. Sure, $5.70. Why don't you talk about that? You're complaining about a beef price of 10 cents raising, but you didn't even mention the fact that beef went up 2x under Joe Biden.
Where?
From 2021 to 2024, the average beef price in 2021 was $3.90. Now the price is and after Biden left, it was $5.70. So historically speaking, it's gone way more up under Biden. And do you want me to pull up Barack Obama's numbers to compare the beef prices? Inflation is going to happen regardless, and prices are going to continue to rise. The only thing that matters is the prices
you recognize
rising
that
as fast as they were under Joe Biden or under Barack Obama.
Here we are. Okay, let's go when Trump took office. When Trump took office in January of 2024, they were at $5.03.
No, Trump didn't get in office in 2024. What the fuck are you talking about?
Sorry, January of 2025. That's my bad.
No, you're reading off something that probably does say 2024, so you're probably referring to Joe Biden's
graph,
numbers.
Dog.
If you're looking at a graph, you're just reading what you're seeing in front of you, which means you're probably talking about Joe Biden's numbers.
Macro trends, the graphs that I literally shared with you, were 555 under Trump, under the first in January of 2025 when he took office.
It's not even comparable. Trump has not doubled the price of beef. Joe Biden.
We're at 683 now. Let's look at good old fashioned. Let's look at Joe Biden.
Doubled the price. Yeah, he doubled the price of beef. So saying this ridiculous argument, basically Trump is following the average inflation. Like inflation is, 2.9, whatever, 3.9, whatever you want to say. That's
January.
The prices are following the inflation versus Joe Biden, where beef went from $3 to fucking $6. How is that not a problem? Why was nobody complaining about that? Why did you forget to mention that part? Why does everyone just forget the price of food literally doubled under Joe Biden? Now that a steak goes up 10 cents, now that a pound of beef goes up 10 fucking cents, you're crying, oh, the economy's being destroyed, the economy's being destroyed. You were silent as fuck. You were silent as fuck when ground beef just doubled in price. You didn't give a single fuck about them. You probably were saying, yeah, everything's going fine. We got old Sleepy Joe in office. Were you not?
Okay.
Were you not? Am I lying?
I was also in high school during Biden, so it's not like I had.
Okay, so you weren't
much
complaining
political
about
power.
beef prices. Probably neither were your parents.
My
So
parents
what can I tell
were
you?
complaining. My parents were complaining.
Okay, then you should obviously see who did the damage to this economy. You
Okay,
cannot,
January.
when you double the
let's start-
prices of beef,
Hey,
when you double
hey,
the prices of beef, that is not something that you can just reverse.
January 2021, $3.97 when Biden enters office. By the end of Biden's term,
it was $5.67.
So we're talking about $1 of growth. Would we?
$1 of growth. That is over $2 of growth. Almost $2 of growth.
Okay, almost $2
versus
of growth.
10 cents of fucking growth under Trump. And you're bitching and crying, and I don't even believe these numbers are even correct.
We're looking at the
but
graph.
for the sake of the argument, I'll agree that these bullshit numbers are right.
We're looking
I know
at the
for
same
a fact beef prices went up way more than they claim they do. They claim inflation was only like 5 to 7% at one point, and I saw a steak go from $15 to $30. I saw the prices with my own eyes. They can't fucking lie to me and say that inflation is only 5%.
Okay, so $2 under Biden. We'll accept that. Year and 6 months under Trump, we've gone from $5.55 to $6.83.
No, that's not true either. We went from $6.12.
We're looking at the same graph. We're looking at the same graph.
We're not looking at the same graph. I'm looking. The prices I got say went from $6.12 to $6.25, which is
January
a 10-cent increase.
Okay, January of 2025. January of 2025.
I'm not looking at specific months. I'm looking at the year of 2025. What did it start as and what did it end as? It started as $6.12 and ended at $6.25, allegedly.
Hey, is it 2025 still?
2026 isn't over, so we can't look at the yearly numbers because we don't have the final numbers. So how are we going to look at an ongoing year statistics? That makes no sense.
We can look at 4 years under Biden, $2. We can look at 1.5 years under Trump, $2.
No,
one
it's
of
not
these
$2.
spiking grocery prices
That is
more.
not true. That is not true. It's not $2. Beef prices are not $8 or $9 or whatever it's
Macrotrends.net, U.S. ground beef prices 1984 to 2026.
Average U.S. beef price in 2026, $6.80. That's not a $2 increase. I don't know where the fuck you're getting your numbers from.
$5.55 to $6.83 is nearly $2. That's about $1. About $1.30. That's still a higher rate. That's still $1.30. Huh?
It went from 5. Hold on. Let me pull the numbers up.
It went from 555 to 683.
The year isn't even over yet, though. The year isn't
I don't care if the year's over.
So you're just gonna count 2 months of the year versus 4 years of Biden's term? I can do the same thing. Look at 2023. Look at the beef price increases. They were up $5. I don't care if the year was over. I don't care if Biden's term was over. That's a ridiculous argument. No, you don't care.
I care about the right now from
and beef prices haven't gone up $2. That's a lie.
It's $1.30.
The majority, even your own article says that the majority of the people pulling these prices up is California and New York. Even your own fucking source says that.
Where does it say that on Macro?
It shows on the map. It shows on the map. Red in California, red in New York. Highest price gains. So those are bringing up averages. Once again, you said not to use averages, and here we go using averages.
I don't care about averages for the fucking.
So you don't care about averages versus medians. So you don't care that beef is $12. You don't care that beef is $12 in California versus $5 in Florida. You don't give a fuck that brings the averages all fucked up. Because food rent prices have exploded like none other in California and New York. But But you were claiming to me not to use the averages. Oh, don't use the averages. Whatever you do, don't use the averages. You got to use the median. It's the more accurate number. And here we go being hypocritical.
Okay. So there's not a median beef price. There's a median income in the United States. I think the median is more accurate if we're discussing the middle class. The average.
There is no accurate number to use. Then you just admitted there's no accurate number you can use.
Hey, no.
Yes. According to your own words, you have to use medians, not averages. So you're using inaccurate information. It is logical. I'm using your standards.
Dude, no.
I'm using your same standards. Not to mention income. Not to mention there is no tax deductions and there is no income increasing under Joe Biden.
There was tax deductions under Joe Biden.
No, there wasn't.
The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is still in effect. The Tax Cuts and Jobs.
Biden canceled it. Did he not?
Where's the evidence? Because Joe Biden let it go through.
What? Let go? What? You're telling me
Joe Biden lowered Jobs Act.
Here, let's look it up. Did Biden lower taxes?
Not did Joe Biden lower taxes. Did Biden let the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act go through?
Here, we'll see. Did Biden lower taxes? Let's find out.
It's a different thing.
Let's find out.
We're doing two separate things.
He did not. He raised he introduced a corporate minimum tax. He added a 1% exercise tax on stock buybacks. He increased the IRS enforcement.
So that's not what I was talking about. We're talking about the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which focused on the middle class and not corporations and stock buybacks. They're different things. We're talking about different things.
Okay, what did that do?
The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was a piece of legislation passed by Donald Trump that lowered taxes. What it did was for the middle class. It lowered taxes.
You're talking about something Trump did, and you're trying to give it to Biden as credit. What's the point of this argument?
I'm saying that Biden didn't raise the tax rates on the middle class because he allowed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
Yeah, you're right. He just raised the corporate tax rate, and that caused all the employees to have a pay cut, or at least a decent amount of them.
So there is evidence that when companies have to spend more money, they would much rather cut jobs and get pay cuts. And Biden had one of the lowest.
So they cut jobs. Biden did not have
no
the lowest
evidence of that because
there was 21 million unemployed people under Joe Biden. 21
at the start of his term. At the start of his term.
That was at the height of his term. That was the most unemployed people at once.
Yeah, at the start. At the end, we were at lower than natural unemployment, which is bad.
What do you mean? Oh, lower than unnatural? How is that bad? More people in the workforce? How is that bad?
Okay, so did you take economics in high school?
Yeah.
Okay, so the natural rate of unemployment is an economic concept that says there's going to be a certain number of people unemployed no matter what we do.
Okay, and how is that bad? Explain the economic concept.
Well, when you have too many people employed, it leads to higher inflation, less shifting between jobs. What a higher rate than recommended natural unemployment means is simply that people aren't moving between jobs. There's no upward mobility. The economy isn't.
How do you mean that people aren't moving through jobs? How do you know that most people that move through jobs keep their job until they get a new one? What are you talking about?
So there's this thing called cyclical unemployment, where people leave their current job to go to a new one, but in the brief time, they are unemployed.
Okay, but that's not the majority of people. The majority of people.
That's what cyclical unemployment is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a thing.
It's one of two types of unemployment.
Huh?
That is literally one of the two types of unemployment.
Yeah, I know. I'm agreeing with you. I literally already agreed with you, so you don't have to keep repeating it again and again.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people.
But the people being employed doesn't mean that they're not going to go from job to job. What was the unemployment rate under Biden that was so low that was bad? Tell me the rate. How much percentage?
God.
Because if it's less than 3, that could be a possibility, maybe. But I don't think it ever got under 3%
So then I believe the
unemployed.
natural unemployment rate of the United States is about 5%.
Do you think anything under that is bad?
I think that it's not necessarily a healthy indicator of an economy because that there's a certain number of people who should be unemployed for us to have like a solid to not have inflation spike too much.
Well, what causes more inflation? Spending or people working jobs?
Hey, big dog.
Government printing money or people just working and
Okay, lowest
spending their
unemployment
money?
under Biden was 3.4%, which is a 54-year low.
I don't believe that either. Maybe,
That's
I
the U.S.
guess.
Department of Commerce.
I don't believe all government statistics either.
Then what statistics are we supposed to use?
For the sake of the argument, I'll agree on them, but in general, I don't.
Dude.
Do you really think inflation was only 9.1% under Biden? Even though you watched the
Yeah.
house go. Okay, so you saw houses go from $250,000 to $500,000. You saw steaks go from $15 to $30. And you want to tell me with a straight face you think that was 5% inflation?
Not all inflation is necessarily because of not all price hikes are necessarily because of inflation. When supply chain
go ahead.
When supply chain shocks happen, like happened under COVID, we see prices rise. When construction stopped,
that was due to Biden's fault.
Supply chains stopped under Trump as well.
Yeah, but Biden kept them closed for way longer.
I'm not going to give Biden credit for anything that he did because of COVID, but I'm also not going to give him credit for anything that happened because of COVID. You can't walk into office, immediately reverse every single lockdown because we're in the middle of a global pandemic and expect things to work out.
He literally could. There was countries that never locked down, and they had the same rates of COVID as everywhere else.
Oh, name those countries. What countries never locked down?
Sweden, Belarus.
Sweden never locked down.
It was either Sweden or Finland.
Sweden and Finland never locked down.
I don't know about both of them, but at least one of them. There is countries that never locked down, and they were fine. And for anyone out there that believes the economy was better under Biden, please join the Discord.
So,
Belarus definitely did not lock down.
We're going to go after Belarus, the collapsed nation state that's literally a Russian lapdog.
You asked me for an example. You didn't tell me you were just going to sit there and criticize them. Nicaragua, Tarzan, Turkmenistan.
I'm saying that these countries are different than the United States.
South Dakota never issued any mandatory business closing. Wyoming, Arkansas, Utah.
Yeah, and how straight are those? Yeah, sure.
So why couldn't we do it for the rest of the 50 states? It's not like, did you ever hear about Arkansas or Wyoming being on the news for people dying more than anywhere else? Because I never heard of it.
First off, South Dakota, I think, makes sense. The population is so sparse there that, like, do we need a lockdown? Do we need to enforce social distancing in fucking South Dakota? But, I mean, let's say they didn't enforce lockdowns at a state level. Did Little Rock enforce lockdowns? Did the biggest cities in Arkansas enforce lockdowns?
I don't know. You sound like you're looking at the information right in front of you.
Yeah, I didn't look at that. So in Arkansas, and I'm just going to use Wikipedia because in Arkansas, about 819,000 people caught COVID-19. About 10,000 people died.
Okay, what about California?
That's about half of the state's population, by the way.
I don't believe those numbers.
You don't believe those numbers?
You're telling me half of the state died? You're telling me half of the state died?
I told you
Is that
about
what you
half
just said?
No, I said about half the people in the state caught COVID. Not half the people died.
And how is
Different.
that measured exactly?
How many people caught COVID in Arkansas?
And what's the source and how is that measured? I have a hard time believing that you surveyed half of the population of the state, or the entire population of the state.
What even is this? CARC is the CBS subsidiary.
ARC?
CARC. And they're citing the Arkansas Department of Health.
I don't know who CARC is.
I think they're a CBS subsidiary.
Okay, so they're a subsidiary of another company that I've never heard of. So did they poll every single person? Did they knock door to door and just interview every single person in the entire state? How did they come to these numbers?
The citation is from the Arkansas Department of Health.
Okay, so how did they get those numbers?
It's reported cases, so people who reported that they had COVID-19.
So you're saying half of the country self-reported of COVID-19. How do we even know if they took a test?
No, I'm just telling you half the state, about 819,000 people.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I'm sorry, I don't believe it.
I mean, okay, you can believe it or not believe it. The department,
and if
Arkansas
they had
Department.
COVID, if they had COVID and it didn't die, then how is that relevant? That means we could have just opened up the whole country and everyone could have just got COVID and it would have been fine.
So a lot of people get asthma as a result of COVID. A lot of long-term symptoms have existed as a result.
I've never heard of asthma being a symptom of COVID.
Okay, so I had pneumonia, which is the same, but it's a very similar virus to COVID.
No, it's not.
It's a COVID infection. It's an infection that targets the lungs that harms your ability to breathe.
COVID didn't just affect the lungs either.
But yeah, neither does pneumonia. What's the argument here?
It's I'm not that similar. What is the comparison other than they both affect the lungs?
Look, all I'm saying is that when you have viruses that attack the lungs or the inside of your body, there could be long-term consequences. Like, I've had asthma for about 4 years as a result of a virus.
Okay.
So California, per the California Department of Health, had about 9 million cases and 91,000 deaths.
Oh, so they were literally the most locked down state in the country, and nine out of 13 people caught COVID.
Yeah. 9 million people caught COVID.
That's more than 50%. That's more than 50% of the population, and they had a greater lockdown. So thank you for proving my point with your statistics.
20 million people live in California. Great to hear. It goes on to say that because the state had the highest population out of any U.S. state, it had one of the lowest per capita rankings for cases.
What do you mean?
So
what state? California or Nebraska?
California.
You just said Nebraska. I just told you Nebraska was never shut down, and you told me only half of the people got COVID.
You told me Arkansas.
Arkansas. Okay, sorry, Arkansas. What about Nebraska?
Huh?
What did you say about Nebraska? Did you mention something about Nebraska?
Said nothing about Nebraska.
Okay, so what did you say about California? That they had one of the lowest rates?
Per capita, they had the 41st highest rate out of all 50 states.
And they had the highest lockdown.
Yeah, I would say that's good. Those are some good numbers.
I don't think that's good at all. That's terrible. That means that states that never locked down at all did better than them.
They had the 41st lowest cases.
Okay, there's still 9 other states that did better than them. most of which probably didn't lock down.
Wait, let's go on this journey together.
I don't want to go on this journey together. COVID was a mistake. And anyone that stood inside and said, "Oh, I'm so scared. I'm shaking in my boots. I don't want to go outside. I'm going to die." You're a fool. You're a fool. You're a fool. I hopped on a plane and I started traveling around the country.
Well, then you're a fool. You could have got COVID.
No, I'm not a fool. I didn't get COVID. I traveled all around everywhere. If there was a real pandemic going outside, people would be dying in the streets.
But I don't think that's
getting a common cold kills more people.
The common cold does not kill more people.
Do you want to look up the numbers?
Sure. Let's see. Common cold deaths every year. Hit me with it.
Let's take a look.
And while you're doing that, I'll look up per capita COVID cases by state.
Okay, maybe the common cold was a poor example, but there's 52,000 people a year that die from the common cold, and currently there's about 20,000 per year that die from COVID. But some years it goes up a little bit with COVID, obviously. So it was 75,000 per year during pandemic peak levels. So 52,000 people a year die from the flu versus the most ever people versus 20,000 from COVID.
So
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If that doesn't tell you that this isn't a pandemic, I don't know what does.
So peak COVID, you said 75,000?
That's what it says here. I mean, that seems a little bit low in my opinion. But
do you think we should just open up all the doors and
No, but I'm thinking when you lie to the people and say that there's a pandemic going on, that you should be put in prison. And the jail cell should be thrown behind, the door should be shut behind you for life.
So you say 75,000 Americans die, right?
Yeah. That was at the peak.
That seems pretty bad.
50,000 people a year die from the common cold.
50,000 people a year die from the common cold.
And now the COVID numbers are below 20,000.
What's the source? What's the source on that?
You didn't give me any of your sources.
Yeah, I did. The California Department of Health, the Arkansas Department of Health.
Okay, hold on. I'll send it to you. Let's see. Okay, my source is the CDC. Average flu season is between 6,300 and 52,000 per year.
That's a really large range, don't you think?
So is for COVID. It could be anywhere between a couple thousand to 75,000. Isn't that a larger range? And this
during
is just
the
from
pandemic,
the CDC, by the way.
So, looking to
Between
the CDC,
2017 and 2018, 95,000 people died from the flu. So 25,000 more people died in 2018 to 2019 from the flu than the COVID pandemic. And you don't think that's a fucking problem?
I don't think that's a problem because we locked the fuck down during the COVID pandemic because it's a lot more deadly.
We didn't lock down during when more people died from the flu. So it was a pointless lockdown. It was a pointless fucking lockdown. If anything, you could have locked down for.
You want to know why we didn't lock down for the flu? Because the percentage rate of people dying from the flu is a lot smaller than for COVID. If 75,000 people,
it's not. It's a lot larger for the common cold than it is for COVID.
What's the percentage of people who die after catching COVID? What's the percentage of people who die after catching?
I'm giving you the death rates. 95,000 people died in 2017 from the flu, which is 25,000 more people that ever died from the COVID pandemic in a single year in America.
Yeah, but the COVID pandemic was a lot more deadly, which is why we locked down.
It wasn't more deadly. That's why more people died from the flu because it's more deadly. Actually, I would even argue I think less people caught the flu and more people died from the flu than COVID. And I can pull up those numbers next.
Okay. How
Not
many people
many
died?
people catch the flu. Not many people catch the common cold.
How many people caught the flu in 2018 and 2019?
I'm looking at 2017 to 2018. That's
Okay, how many people?
Between 52,000 and 95,000. 2014, 51,000 people died, which is almost
Wait.
Hmm?
Oh, whoa. You're telling me 52,000 people caught the flu and 51,000 died?
No, not how many caught it. I'm just looking at deaths. If it doesn't kill you, then why do you need to stay inside?
Because it killed 75 Americans.
Yeah, and 95,000 Americans died from the flu, and no one was told to stay inside.
From 2018 to 2019?
I said from 2017 to 2018.
2017 to 2018.
World Health Organization.
Okay. So that's just in America, right?
Just in America, yeah.
From the Center for Disease Controls. So.
But guys, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay. By the way, I assume this is some great content for you because we've been at this for like 3 hours nearly.
I don't have that much time. Yeah, it's been 3 hours and 10 minutes. So if there's any final things, we can wrap it up in 5 minutes if you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So. What? Okay. What is this?
Wait, before we go, the chat wants to know, what's your opinion on trans? How many genders are there?
So I believe that there's probably 3 genders. Male, female, and then something in between.
Intersex?
Like intersex, non-binary. I think those are both valid identities that people can hold.
So you don't think a trans woman is a real identity that someone can hold?
I think trans is a perfectly valid identity. Also, as of April,
are there then?
Hey, real quick,
you said 3, but that adds more genders.
Hey, before we skip to this, per the CDC, as of April 19th of 2019, only 186 people had died during the 2017 to 2018 flu season.
What number are you getting that from?
How many? Oh, whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, I was gonna say whoopsie daisy. I'm reading at the CDC's website. It says over 52. It says between It says between 52,000 and an estimated up to 95,000 people died, which is quite significantly more than COVID.
So, per the CDC, influenza-associated deaths in the United States range from a low of 12,000 in 2011 to 2012 to a high of 56,000 from 2012 to 2013.
Yeah, I'm not denying that the numbers change, but the numbers change for COVID too. I mean, how many people died last year from COVID?
Not many, because most people are vaccinated.
Let's see. The vaccination can't help against it 100% because it's a virus that's constantly mutating.
Yeah, but it can generally stop it about.
Every single season, there's a new mutation that they don't have an updated vaccine for. So that's a ridiculous.
Yeah, but
argument. And by the way, most people have flu vaccines too. So and 95,000 people still died from that. So what's your point?
So this article doesn't say 90,000 ever. It says that the high was 56.
Well, okay, I'll give 56, but some estimates say up to 95,000. But
not in the 2017 to 2018 one by the CDC.
Well, it's confirmed 55,000, but there's still estimates out there that go up.
Yeah, there's probably estimates of COVID that say like 40 quadrillion people died. Let's not.
Do you know how many people died last year from COVID?
Probably not many because of my goats at Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson.
Okay, if those goats work, then I'm not even gonna get into the whole argument.
Let's not get into the COVID thing. I know you want to talk about trans cock for a little bit.
Trans cock that's more of your thing. That's what you like to think about. I just want to ask you if you think trans women are real women.
I think that if we are talking about gender, then yes, saying that you are a woman is a valid identity because it's the only way that we found that makes sense to treat the mental illness that is gender identity disorder.
So the only way to treat a mental illness is to feed into their delusion. What about schizophrenic people? Should we also feed into the delusion so they don't feel like they're schizophrenic anymore?
There's medication we can give to schizophrenic people.
There's
not
medication we can give to transgender people.
What's the medication? Tell me the
same
medication.
Shit that schizos take. Because they're both schizo.
So, no, that's just fucking wrong. Schizophrenic people.
The way you help transgender people is not by confirming their identity. They can go through therapy. There's many drugs out there that can help them. But confirming a false delusion is just called a terrible psychiatrist or a terrible therapist.
So you can go through therapy,
to confirm someone's delusion.
So you can go through therapy to like stop the trans in
and
you.
Even
you can
confirming their identity.
Hey.
Even if I do agree to confirm their identity is going to make them feel better, it doesn't change their suicide rates one bit.
It does actually.
It doesn't.
If you.
It doesn't because they still have among the highest suicide rates. If they were never trans, they would have had a lower suicide rate.
Yeah. If they didn't have, it's schizophrenic.
So if they stop identifying as trans, then they have a lower suicide rate all of a sudden. Isn't that interesting?
No, it does. If people weren't depressed, there'd be a lower suicide rate.
Huh?
If people weren't depressed, there would be a lower suicide rate. If we look at all of the journals and all of the studies, the best way to make sure that people who are trans
is to feed into the delusion?
Is to give gender-affirming care.
Okay, but 90% of the population is never going to confirm a lot of these people as women. So that's never going to happen. So if that's really a treatment for them, that's never going to happen.
I don't think 90% of the
population. The majority of America is not going to recognize trans women as women. We won't even say percentages because we don't have studies. I'll concede we don't know the percentage. But what we can agree on is the majority of the country does not recognize transgender women as real women.
No, okay. Even let's say, pal, you don't recognize trans people as real women. That's sure. I don't agree. I think that's kind of bigoted and kind of.
Okay, so trans women are real women. Are you a heterosexual man if you date a trans woman?
I don't really have an opinion on that.
You said it's a real woman. You have to give an opinion. If it's a real woman, you wouldn't be.
All the people I've seen date trans people are bi already. Like.
So they're gay then. They're homosexuals.
Personally, I wouldn't date a trans person. I think that's fine. I think people can have preferences.
Okay, but if a man dates a trans woman, you're homosexual, correct?
I really don't care.
It doesn't matter if you care. Definitions matter. Homosexuality.
Call him gay. I don't give a.
Homosexual. I'm not using it as a slur. I'm using it as because they are gay. Because
if you like it, okay.
Homosexuality is based on same-sex attraction, not on gender or any of that bullshit. It's based on same-sex attraction.
Sure. If you like cock, you're gay.
Well, some trans women cut their cocks off. You're still gay if you like them.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it is because it's based on sex.
If they're near identical,
it's based on sex. It's not based on if you cut your penis off or your gender. The word homosexuality means same-sex attraction. It doesn't say same-gender attraction. It says same-sex attraction. You already conceded to the argument that you can only change your gender and not your sex.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's talking about changing sex. There's a reason we have a separate term. It's gender, not sex.
I know one transgender that believes they can change their sex.
But
that's the majority of people don't believe that. That is true.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't point to one crazy person and say that they represent everyone. No, I'm just saying.
I'm saying people do believe it though.
Yeah.
Would you concede then that dating a trans woman is homosexual?
I don't think it really matters, so fine, I don't care.
It does matter. Okay, fine, you don't care, you concede then. Okay, great. We can move on then.
Well, no, I think that gender affirming care should be provided to people because it reduces.
What about for minors?
That's a decision to be made by the parents, the doctors, and the child.
So you think the parents should be able to give their children unreversible hormones
I think that if the doctor and the child and the parent all agree to it, then yeah.
So you think a 3-year-old should be able to get their penis chopped off and pumped full of hormones? That's disgusting.
No, because the child can't agree. And no doctor's going to recommend
The
that.
child can never agree until they're 18. You already said it's up to the parent's decision.
Dude, if the parents, the doctor, and the child agrees to the child getting a nose job, I'm fine with that.
I'm not. That's also disgusting.
If the parent, the doctor, and the child agree to getting a vaccine, I'm fine with that. Any medical
That's
care.
a little bit different. I mean, transgender, cutting your penis off is not medical care. It's not health care. I'm sorry. Pumping yourself full of hormones that are not naturally producing is not health care. Actually, it's the opposite of health care. It's poison. That's a sick and disgusting take. So you think if a doctor and the parents agree to cutting off, and the 4-year-old, maybe he's 5. You can say yes or no when you're 5 years old. So let's say a 5-year-old in kindergarten says, yes, I want to get my wiener chopped off and pumped full of hormones. And the doctor and the parents agree. You think that's fine?
No.
So then when is it fine and when is it not fine?
Probably pre-puberty, around 12, I'd say.
So you think it's okay for a 12-year-old to cut his wiener off and pump himself full of hormones?
No. I think it's okay for a doctor to give gender-affirming care to a 12-year-old.
So it's okay for them to cut off their wing wong.
I don't think...
Irreversible decision that's not even medically necessary. Do you think that's okay?
No.
Okay, then you don't think it's okay. Then you agree. It's not okay for minors to have transgender operations or gender affirming care.
But you can't boil down gender affirming care to just, well, they're going to cut off their dicks.
Well, they shouldn't take hormones either. Those are irreversible. You can never go into puberty once you're past a certain
You can
age.
take T, taking HRT.
It doesn't matter. If you take HRT when you're 25 years old, you're not going to produce the same kind of puberty as you did. You're not going to produce puberty at all.
Yeah, but
you're
again, you
can
take
baby face no matter what.
You can take hormones after this, and this is only if
you cannot go into puberty when you're 25 years old.
This is only if the doctor approves. So if the doctor approves, we've gone through a whole host of steps to confirm that they have gender identity disorder, which I think is a mental illness that can only be treated by affirming the person's identity.
Minors' wieners.
I don't think we're cutting off minors' wieners. I've never talked to a conservative who isn't obsessed with cock.
I mean, you can call me a homosexual all you want, but I think that's a little bit funny that you're going to say I'm obsessed with cock when your party's supposed to be the one that loves gays.
Yeah, I think that my party supports people living their lives in a way that doesn't harm anyone.
You keep using gay as a slur. Anyone that questions your narrative, you call them homosexual as a slur. Like,
when
what
did
the
I
fuck
ever
are you talking about supporting LGBTQ? You literally said, I've never met a Republican that doesn't think about cock. Well, what's wrong with thinking about cock if you accept it so much? Y'all are calling people gays as a slur. That's literally what you just did. You're saying, you're using gay identity as a slur and as a negative thing. At the same time, claiming that you support trans. You're a fucking bigot. Meanwhile, you call other people that don't think trans women are real women bigots. But you literally just did something bigoted towards the gay community, which you claim to support. By generalizing an entire political party for being homosexual.
I didn't say that you're homo.
You said I never met a Republican that doesn't think about cock.
I said girl cock, but...
Girl cock? There's no fucking such thing as girl cock. You're either a man or a woman.
Okay. So.
A cock is a sex organ. It's not a gender identity. Meaning you're a man. You're a male.
So.
So there's no such thing as girl cock. Is girl cock what you like to take in your ass?
No.
Okay.
So people who have gender identity disorder have a significant risk of suicide. that doesn't mean that just because they don't have gender identity disorder, they are going to be perfectly fine. Like if I don't say I have depression and kill myself, that doesn't mean I didn't have depression.
So once again,
right?
What is wrong with thinking about cock? Since you guys claim to support it,
I don't care if you think about. I don't care if you think about.
Why do you gotta point it out? Then why do you gotta point it out? If you don't care, why do you gotta point it out? Is it because you're bigoted?
Because you keep saying
it's
like,
because
oh,
you're
they're gonna
bigoted. No, because I'm questioning your narrative and I'm telling you what they do to these children, and now you're saying that I like cock or I think about cock. When I'm telling you what the fuck is going on, you're accusing a whole political party of being gay, and you're pointing out that's a negative thing, and you're trying to say basically that they should not be doing that and that it's your stop.
Real quick.
But if you're saying that, then that's bigoted. That's against the LGBTQ community. You want to play this whole bullshit game of calling people bigots when you're literally the biggest fucking bigot here. I don't go up to people and call them gay as an insult for the most part. At least people that I don't fucking know.
Hey, dude, my best friend's fucking gay, okay? I don't...
Okay, so then go ask him why he's thinking about cock. Go ask him why the Democrats are thinking about cock. Don't try to put that a bigoted slur towards Republicans.
Probably because they like cock.
You should go tell your friend they do not like cock. The Democrat Party probably has more gays in it. But once again, I don't have any stats on that. But I imagine.
Well, yeah, probably. I don't disagree.
So why are you guys the most bigoted towards gays?
I'm not.
Why did you just imply that being gay is a bad?
It's not.
Why did you criticize a party for thinking about cock? Why did you criticize someone for thinking about cock?
Look, if you think it's insulting...
No, I'm asking you, why? Why would you criticize for someone like that? If it's not insulting, why would you... If it's not an insult, why would you criticize someone for it? Did that just go right over your head? Did that just go right over your head?
Hey,
if you're going to criticize someone for liking cock, then that means you're homophobic. Did that just go over your head? Did that just completely go over your bigoted little head? So you people think that you're so progressive.
Hey, big dog. If you think that thinking about cock is an insult, then maybe that says more about you than it does about me.
No, you criticized a political party.
I criticized you for sitting around and thinking about. Criticize you.
You're making more allegations and you're trying to demonize thinking about cock. Since you guys
I'm trying to demonize conservatives for sitting around and talking about.
Then what's wrong with it? You said nothing's wrong with it. Then nothing's wrong with it. Stop pointing it out. If it's not an insult, then why do you have to point it out? What's the purpose of pointing it out? If you're not trying to insult a political party, what's the point of pointing it out?
Because I think you think it's an insult.
No. So you are trying to insult me. So you are
using it as an insult. If you think it's an insult, then yeah.
No, you just use it as an insult. You're trying to twist your words and you're trying to twist the narrative because you just got caught. You just got caught.
Hey. I could hate gays all the time. I could spend my time burning LGBTQ flags in the streets. That doesn't change my argument.
Okay, there's not much of an argument left. We've been on here for almost 3.5 hours. Is there any final things you want to say? I'll let you speak your piece.
Okay. We'll just go through today's conversation. First and foremost, Trump has made life harder for the middle class.
No, he hasn't.
Second, you told me you were going to let me speak my piece. Let me speak my piece. Trump has made things harder for the middle class. Immigration needs to be addressed through addressing the asylum system. Look up the Langford bill. It would have solved it, especially the second draft. It didn't. Let me speak my piece. COVID-19 lockdowns were important.
No, they weren't. Anything else?
And finally,
the fact that you like to call people. Add the part that you like to call people out for thinking about cock.
Gender affirming care is
try to insult them and degrade them. At the very least, that was a degrading statement. At the very least, that was a degrading statement, which means you think you can call people homosexual as a form of degradation, which means you're a bigot. You might want to think long and hard about that tonight. Because what you tried to do was use homosexuality as a form of degradation. And you know you fucking did. So think about that. Don't go around calling people like me bigots when you can't even think before you speak. If you don't want to be accused of being a bigot, then don't do the shit that the quote-unquote progressives would call bigoted.
I'm not a progressive, but even if I was, I don't think that it's an issue that people are gay.
Okay, then don't use it in a degrading manner then.
don't take it as a degrading thing. If you don't think it's
You
degrading,
literally told me you used it because you thought it would be a degrading thing towards me. Because I thought it would be degrading towards me, which means you used it in a
clearly you do.
degradation form. No, I don't. Clearly you do. You're the one that used it.
Hey. If I don't think there's anything wrong with being gay,
you can say that all you want, but that doesn't change the facts of what you just said. Like I can say I'm not racist, but at the same time I can say some racist shit, right? That doesn't change the fact that what just happened.
I mean, you said people's IQs are based off their ethnicities earlier.
It is. That's 100% true.
It's not, but
it is.
IQ,
show me a study.
IQ is more determinative of social economic class than racial status or ethnic status. And yeah.
Okay, that doesn't change the fact that certain ethnicities have certain average IQs.
Hey, when's the live IQ test?
I mean, I'll do an IQ test versus you if you want to pay me $100 if I beat you.
Dude, I'm not going to pay you $100.
If I have a higher IQ than you.
No.
Okay, then no.
Do the IQ test live. I'm not a public figure.
You do it versus me. Since you want to ask me to do the IQ test, assuming that you're probably thinking I'm stupid, then do it versus me. If you think you're so much smarter than me.
I'm just saying
if
you
think
can't
you're so much better than me, let's do an IQ test together. The winner,
I don't
if
think
you
I'm
win,
better
I'll
than
give
you.
$100. If I win, you give me $100.
I don't have $100 to blow on IQ tests versus fucking.
Okay, $10.
No.
$2.
I'm not Venmoing you.
Okay, so then you don't want to do it because you know it. You already know what the results are going to say.
Hey, I'm not claiming that IQ is not even a good metric.
It is.
I don't think
Somali
IQ is
average IQ is full-blown retarded. 67. Like it or not, certain ethnicities have average IQs. That's the truth.
Yeah, because IQ is a bullshit system. I don't like it.
Okay, I can probably agree with you there, but it doesn't change the facts.
Yeah, then stop using IQ, bro.
No, I'm not. Because that's the number one thing people love to talk about when it comes to intelligence.
Well, then talk about other things that are determinative of intelligence.
Oh, so you don't even want to deny the fact that African Americans have lower IQs.
Because African Americans on average are lower socioeconomic, and also the inventors of the IQ test, like Henry Goddard, actively used IQ as
it actively made if they're poor or not.
IQ was literally the IQ test was literally designed to prove that white people were more intelligent.
Well, okay, then you're just gonna have to disagree with the entire system itself, like you already said.
I literally did.
Okay.
I said I don't believe an IQ is a good metric.
Because you think it's racist. Because pointing out that African Americans have low IQ and higher incarceration rates is racist. Oopsie whoopsie.
Because the guy who invented one of the guys
by the way, the saying that economic conditions contribute to IQs is hilarious because there's more white people in America in poverty than black people. Yet African Americans have a lower IQ. So what you just said makes no fucking sense.
Per capita, African American communities are lower social economic status than white communities, but even then, we're taking an average. So literally, every single person would be assessed across the board. If there's more white middle class people, they'll have higher IQs. If IQ is determinative
there's
of
more white poor people.
Yeah, but when you take an average, it doesn't matter how many what the number of people there are.
Here we go with the average versus the median. Okay.
It doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter that you didn't take 7th grade math and don't understand medium, mode, and range.
You're the one that wasn't being consistent. You kept telling me to stop using averages, and then you used averages. Huh?
For income. That's 2 different things.
What is it?
I don't think you should use averages for discussing the middle class.
So only use the numbers that are convenient.
Median. It's perfect.
You used averages several times. You used averages several times. And even if we put...
For ground beef prices, there's no median ground beef price.
Huh?
There's no ground beef price that's median. There's no
IQ. So then why would you use the average if it's not fair? If you think it's so unfair to use averages and they're not accurate, then why use them at all? Why make the argument at all? Because you're disingenuous and you're not consistent with their
No,
thought
because if we're
process.
discussing the middle of something, we should discuss the median because it's the middle. But if we're discussing every single number across a wide range, then we should use the average. They're two different things. They're designed for two different purposes.
Well, this guy in the comment is saying median is literally fucking average. Median
It's not.
Average. It's not.
Yeah. Glad we can finally agree.
Comments.
Good bipartisan effort. Good bipartisan effort.
All right. I'll let you go, man.
Yeah. Hey, dude, if you ever want me back on, love to talk to you. This is fun.
Awesome, man. I hope you stay in the Discord. You're going to find some other good debates and conversations, but we'll definitely do a part 2 to this sometime.
Yeah. I've tried YouTube debate before. You're genuinely fun to talk to. You're a fun guy.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night. Love you.
Peace out, man. Much love. Well, that was an interesting conversation. What did y'all think? Hopefully they grade on a curve. Oh my gosh. I will destroy the guest. I mean, he's in the Discord right now. Answer. Well, here we go. He was the one arguing about IQ. I got called MAGA scum in Australia. Ha ha ha. Make Australia great again. Okay, that's pretty funny. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, get those likes way up there. We're going to answer any questions we see in the comment section. Did you see the shooting in Seattle? Nope. Didn't see that. What is a leftist? What is your definition? My definition or the actual definition? I love everyone that loves me too. No homo though. Join the Discord. He will not like talking about economics with, people that are more. Median is average? No, median is not average. We've been over this. Leftists are racist. They're also homophobic because, as you can see, they use homosexual references in a degrading manner, which is absolutely ironic. Very, very ironic. If you don't want people to be homophobic, then shouldn't you stop using homosexuality in a degrading, stop referring to homosexuality in a degrading manner? But myself, I believe homosexuality is a sin, and I'm against it. But I'm just arguing from their perspective. If they want to say that we're bigots, then shouldn't they not use, these degrading references, the homosexual acts? But get those likes way up there. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's check the subscriber count, guys. Yeah, get those subscribers way, way, way up there. Welfare really doesn't have an ROI. Not really. Excuse me. What's up, John? Oh, I see yours says John Castler's editor. If you want to edit for me and you can get paid for clips, you can join the Discord, and I can send you the right way. We're doing a clipping competition right now, so join that Discord. Hey, happy Sunday, Zone Bot. Happy Sunday, brother. Happy Monday, I guess. Yeah. Join the Discord. Ooh, thank you for those jewels. Send some gifts, send some memberships, show some love, guys. That was 3.5 hours of pure entertainment for y'all. So the least y'all can do is show some love to your boy. And also get those likes up. Let's get to maybe 150 likes, I don't know. Let me take off these damn headphones now, though, since I don't need them. They're freaking getting sweaty on me after all that time. Ooh, let me read this comment right here. This guy says, Muslim playbooks. We are here to peacefully worship Allah. Number 2, enter politics with help from liberal collaborations. Number 3, go for Jews. Number 4, go for Christians. Number 5, go for liberals that helped us. Ding, 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 ding. Israel's not becoming a big problem. And if you want to debate about that, you can join my Discord. Let's see, what else do we got going on? Yeah, Trump could maybe change the Constitution. I don't know. We'll see. Get those likes up, though. And join the Discord if you haven't already, fellas. We're going to try to get some good... we're going to try to get some good people in here tomorrow. All right, guys. I'm exhausted. Do you ever answer questions? Yeah, I answer every single question, comment that I can, and I read every single super chat 100% of the time. Now, I can't always get to everyone in the comment section, but Islam started in Saudi Arabia and colonized over 50 countries. One small Jewish country in the region of peace can't stand it. Yep. Yep. I like that too. All right, people, I'm out of here. Have a good one, everybody.